Get ready for the smackdown. Get ready for the smackdown. What you gonna do when you're hit with the facts now? Watch out for smackdown. In a world where truth is bent, we've got science on our side. Flat Earth beats on, it's all pretend. But facts will be died. Get ready for the smackdown. Get ready for the smackdown. They'll lie while the earth spins around. Watch out for smackdown. They cling to ancient misconceptions. We've got truth in our possession. No room for doubt, no time to waste. It's time to put flat Earth in its place. Here comes the smackdown.
Welcome everybody to Tuesday Night. I'm your host MC Toon, and tonight I will be going on to a Discord server. It is it's not a flat Earth Discord server, but it's a globe Earth Discord server run by a guy named Gempanda, who's in England, and it's 8 o'clock here, which means it's 2 a.m. There, and he's up, he's rocking. There's a bunch of people in the room, and what I've done is it's going to be an open panel. The link to it is in the description if you're interested in popping in. Hopefully, I've invited. I've kind of put it out there to say, hey, if any flatties are interested in some feedback, if you think that I've maybe strawmanned flat Earth in my predictions for what will be happening in Antarctica, then this is their chance to correct me on those strawman, because I don't want to strawman their model. I'd like to be able to properly test their model. So anyway, I'm going to be going in there. Here's the Discord server, what it looks like, and we'll be coming in.
You have a lifetime to go down there.
Yeah.
And then what, you're going to ask them to pay
not
your
a short
rent
flight,
while you're
bro.
down there?
I mean, like I said, it just depends on what your bills are.
And pay for your time.
Somebody might not be able to, depending on what the bill situation is, they might not be able to do it, is all I'm saying. If it's a flat earther, they don't have their bill set. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just think of a flat earther's finances, is all I'm thinking of. They might not be able to.
All right. Hello, guys.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm super, Jem.
Are you live now?
I am live right now. We've got a bunch of people watching live on YouTube. So, yeah.
Let me do this stage thing, shall I? I'll start it now. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Start event. Right. Did anything change?
This is your first time doing the stage?
Yeah, first time I've done it. Yeah. And
all right.
how do people raise their hand then? How do
I don't know. I still see.
Hold on. Are you still here?
I am.
Yeah. Can someone
still
raise
here
their
too.
hand in it so I can?
I don't see an option.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't see the option either.
When I've done this, where on other Discord servers, like everybody gets moved to the stage, and then only the people that have been like moved up to the stage then can talk, and I don't see that has happened. So
No, don't know what's up on there. Oh well, failed. Hang on, go to channel.
Go to channel, and then I think people like manually move everybody over to the stage is what happens.
Right, but I don't see a stage. I just see the normal channel thing.
Yeah.
You could maybe convert like VC2 into a stage and then have everyone move there. Because maybe you can't do it when everyone's inside the voice chat already.
Yeah, possibly. Or should we just go with it how it is?
Yeah, being that you don't have experience with it, it might be a little rough.
Yeah,
So-
I did look it up on YouTube, and
All right.
you know,
Well, now,
right.
now
Don't worry about it.
Jeebus is asking you to do your Oakley impersonation.
Well, this is it. Everyone just says I sound like it. So
Good job. Well done.
this is. If I get really angry, that kind of gets me a bit closer,
yeah.
I think. And you know, it doesn't usually take much.
So let me introduce the idea here. I will be going to Antarctica. I leave next week. I'll be on the ground in Antarctica on December 14. It's the 3rd right now. So that's 11 days. And let's see, a week from Saturday is when we will be taking off from Punta Arenas and then landing in Antarctica. Hopefully the guard penguins don't turn us back at gunpoint. Hopefully our plane is able to crest the ice wall. Hopefully, maybe the ice wall is only 35,000 feet and the plane can just scrape by. Or maybe, just hear me out, wild idea, maybe it's just a continent on the south end of the planet. We shall see. But the idea is that I have put together a bunch of predictions. These are experiments, because the essence of an experiment is to have a testable hypothesis. So I put together, I think right now 16. I have maybe a couple more I'll be doing, but experiments that I will be doing, and these are other than the main one, which is, will the sun do circles overhead? So, and then the important thing is that I put together, to the best of my ability, the flat Earth predictions by applying physics, optics, and geometry to flat Earth, based on the claims that flat earthers generally make. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not strawmanning flat Earth. And so I'm simply asking, if I got it wrong, please correct me. I want to know, well, what is the actual flat Earth prediction for whatever of these different things. So if you look at my list, it has 16 items on it. And I went to a Flat Earth Discord server last week, and I started with asking about, well, what are the distances between the lines of longitude? And of course, lines of longitude are things that have been around for centuries on the Earth. People know where lines of longitude are. There's no question about where lines of longitude are. And there are 360 lines of longitude over the Earth, around it, through it, across it, whatever words you want to put. There's 360 degrees of longitude, and they work. The fact that people are able to order pizza from Pizza Hut and have it delivered tells us that lines of longitude work and lines of latitude work. The fact that you can order an Uber and it'll show up wherever you're standing means that lines of longitude and latitude work. These predate GPS. GPS just is a mechanism, an additional mechanism to determine your latitude and longitude. Before GPS, you could do other things, including celestial navigation, to determine them. So I asked specifically, what is the distance between lines of longitude on a flat Earth? And I will be measuring the distance between lines of longitude at different points on my trip as I am able at airports, certainly in Punta Arenas and in Antarctica. So the super common flat Earth map, the Gleason map, the one that has been used since it's azimuthal equidistant. So before Gleason even, Samuel Rowbottom had the same map in his books that he published starting, I think, in the 1840s. So this is the thing that flat earthers propose, and I'm not strawmanning them because this is the one that they've put forward. And if there's a different one that they think is a serious one, then I'm happy to take that and put it in as one other of the predictions based on some other map or model or physical measurement of the ground, because that's what we're doing here. We're going to measure the ground. How far is it between points? So anyway, that's one. Any of the 16 listed there, I'm open to have corrected by flat earthers, should they be available and around and in the chat. I don't know if there are any, but that's the idea. So that's the introduction. And I have to say, that Icy Spin says, how is it December 3rd already? 3 Ron says, let the derp commence. And Shovelhead Steve said that I should have grown out my beard for the trip. And that is something that just doesn't work on the face that I own. We got Janusz Takas there has a funny little cartoon there. So are there flat earthers in the chat? I do see a concaver, but this isn't really about you guys yet.
Hey, I'll poke the bear.
All right. Rawr. Not much of a bear, sorry.
The azimuthal map is the same map as the global map.
Well, I mean, that's what we say, of course. But flat earthers make
it is
aggressive claims.
Its projection is projected for what its use is.
Yes.
For its actual reality.
Well, but when you say it's the same, it's not, though, right? Like, there are differences. Even if it's a projection, like we're saying with the final experiment, if you go south far enough on a flat Earth, then the sun will be north of you at all times.
But I'm just going to interrupt you real quick there. But he said it as it was. It's an azimuthal. He used that word.
Azimuthal?
Azimuthal?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry.
Yeah.
You used the word I'm not doing well right now, obviously.
Are you thinking azimuthal equidistant?
Yeah, sorry. Yep. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I was reading a PDF, sorry. Yeah, that's what so it would be the same as is the globe. And also it has the grid system on it, which is your GPS, which is the exact same as far as altitude, above or below sea level. So you can get your pizza anywhere on there as well.
Distances are dramatically different on the two. If you take the projection and say, well, this projection is actually reality and not a projection, then distances between lines of longitude must increase as you go farther south and continue to increase and until you get to whatever is the limit. But on the globe, it's different because the globe is not flat; it's a sphere. So as you go south from the North Pole, you get to the equator where the lines of longitude distance is maximized, and then they start to shrink again. And it's a sine-cosine relationship because of the curve, the spherical shape of the Earth. So these are two rather simple things to determine.
Well, no, see, it's the same. It's the same GPS. Right, it's the same grid system that is projected on both maps.
Yeah, but you missed the part where I said that the distances are dramatically different. So the grid system you're talking about, the latitude longitude, is not on the globe is not directly matched to any linear distance. You can get on latitude you can get a conversion, but the longitudes
I have a question.
don't have just a second.
Hold on a second.
The longitudes on either of them are not declared by the grid system. It's when you put it on the actual surface that they have concreteness. So yeah, they're dramatically different in their consequences for flat versus globe.
Nope, degrees are degrees, and surface is the surface. And surface is not above or below sea level, so the horizon's there. Above is up above the horizon. So I don't know. There's no difference.
There's no difference in linear. So you're saying that on a map, if the actual world were flat and a circle, that the distances between lines of longitude at 45 degrees south would be the same as the distances between lines of longitude at 45 degrees north? Well, that doesn't seem to make sense. right?
Well, why wouldn't I mean, it is not south as it is north. North is south as it is, right? It's on an axis, so or up and down. They're perpendicular from each other, so that
Okay.
would.
All right. Here, I'll challenge you to do this. Get an AE map. Get Gleason's map or any other AE map. Take a ruler.
Got it.
Measure the distance between lines of longitude at 45 degrees north with that ruler.
Right.
Okay. Now remember that. Now move that down to 45 degrees south and use that ruler to measure the distance between them. Is it the same or different?
It's the same because it has hands on there that actually measure it, so they move with the map.
Oh my gosh.
Anyhow, that's just because the projection of that map is used for but its purpose, right?
Are you really? Is this really confusing you that much?
Actual...
Hold on. I want to.
No, not at all, man.
Jem, can I just verify? Is this guy a real flat earther or is he a Poe?
Yeah, he's not a Poe. He's not a Poe. He's not a Poe. He really is that dense.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
He's a slow.
Why are we saying dense, you guys? Curious. Why?
All right.
So, 45 degrees is 45 degrees.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me 45 degree changes on a map, sir?
All right. I don't. It's hard for me to believe that somebody could be this confused.
Well, I'm not. You're telling me 45 degrees changes, dude.
No, I'm telling you that the linear distance between the lines of longitude, not 45 degrees, are different. So I have. I'll demonstrate this to my live audience right now, so they can see. And this will be on my YouTube if you want to look. Oh, hold on.
45 degrees, 45 degrees, bud. There's no.
You better start believing because you're in one.
We better start believing because you're in one.
You don't need a ruler to measure 45 degrees.
Measure the distance between lines of longitude.
Protractor.
Between lines of longitude.
Or you can, you would use it and use a ruler anyways. Okay. Yeah.
Is this?
So that's why it's equal distance. It's called equal distance for that reason. Right.
Is this real life?
360 degrees is a circle, by the way.
This is real.
60 degrees is
This is real life?
It only shows up 180. Nothing is over 180 degrees.
This is.
Yeah, June. It's flabbergasting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's not. I mean, I love this. That's why I asked. I mean, I want to make sure that other flat earthers aren't going to come in and say, "Hey, you had a Poe in there." So okay. So here I have the AE map on right here, and I have a ruler. Okay. And I'm going to measure between lines of longitude on this map. So here's
longitude. You mean latitude?
No, between lines of longitude. So here is between lines of longitude here, and then I'm going to go up here. I'm going to measure between lines of longitude here. So this is an analog for measuring the length across the ground. So this is flat earthers like, lights in the sky. This isn't lights in the sky. This is measurement across the ground. So here we go up at, and I'm going to do this in metric because this is science, people. So right up here at the top, somewhere, this is across about 49 degrees north, which is right at the north end of Minnesota here, between I don't know, what is this? Whatever this 5 degrees, 10 degrees, I don't know. Anyway, half a centimeter is what I'm measuring here. Now I'm going to move down between the same line of longitude here and the same line of longitude here. And I'm going to measure the same line of longitude. Now I'll measure the distance here. And it's over 1.5. It's a little bit over, but we can round down. We'll call it 1.5 centimeters. So we have over at around the northern part of the United States, we have half a centimeter linear distance. And then down here around, this is probably 60 degrees south latitude, I'm guessing, we have 1.5 centimeters. So that's what I was asking you to do. That's the example here, is measuring the actual linear distance between points on the ground. So there you go. Now, I don't know if you saw this or not, Engel.
Well, see, here's the thing, but the map is already projected for what it's used for, so I don't have to take a ruler out. It has its property and values already set for me, or what it's used for, and it actually is set for, give or take, and it actually has its property values for what you use it for.
And what do you use it for?
Ruler too.
What do you use it for?
Well,
what does the map say it's for?
For time, right? It's for its time, and you said it was azimuthal to begin with, so it's centered just on it's a polar.
So
it's a polar.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say that
on a polar view.
Yeah, if you're going to say that it's made for a purpose.
The globe is actually centered on an actual centered too, right? The global view that you see from the equator of the north-south, it's actually an azimuthal view as well. So it's just, where it's centered on.
No, it's not. But anyway, so on the top of the map, top left of the map, the Gleason map, what does it say? It gives its purpose. What is it? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't have it up in front of me. I can pull it up though. It's fine.
It's probably on your wall, right? You hang it on your wall, don't you?
No, I don't. I'm not a flat earther, by the way. I'm really not. No. Hold on.
Jim, is this the case?
Ask him about the surface of water.
Yeah, he says that, but he won't admit it. He's more of a globe earth denier, Tune.
Well, yeah, I mean, the globe earth denier is flat earther that has realized that there is no evidence for flat earth, but still wants to religiously believe it. So
that's incorrect. That is incorrect.
It's bumpy.
That's an incorrect statement, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, a flat earther, I mean...
Okay, so the question to you is, what does it say on the top left of that? It gives its function and purpose on it.
While he's looking for that, McToon, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Chris.
Don't you have the same distance problem on a globe as you stated? As you go from the north, if you go from the North Pole to the equator, you have the same. He was just talking.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
McToon, when you go from the North Pole, it's Chris Berry.
Okay.
When you go from the North Pole on a globe and you go, say, south towards the equator, you have those same lines of longitude discrepancy, don't you?
There's no discrepancy that I'm aware of. They do
get bigger as they go towards the equator, right?
Exactly, yeah, and they follow a sine-cosine relationship. Yep.
Okay, so is there a relationship that they follow on the FE or AE map?
On the AE map, they would need to follow a linear relationship, not a sine-cosine relationship, and they would have to be maximized as wherever the end is, if 0 degree or 90 degrees south or whatever is past that. Maybe there's an ice wall, maybe there's a dome, maybe there's more lands. Flat earthers can't agree on that.
Right. So they both follow a specific mathematical relationship then, and therefore they're both correct, right?
Well, they both make a very specific prediction that we can then compare in reality to see which prediction is correct.
Right. So like when we want to do a measurement and we want to look out to the distance and we say we see something too far, and not just like a little too far, but like many, many, many miles too far, that would be a flat earth prediction, right?
No. A flat earth prediction would be this object is this far away, and flat earth predicts this based on this physics, optics, and geometry, that this amount of it should be obstructed. And I've never seen any flat earther provide any physics, optics, or geometry that tells how much of a distant object should be obstructed. They just kind of say words and not have anything that's actually testable. So I'd love to hear an actual, here's the physics, optics, and geometry for why things are obstructed bottom up, and at 20 miles from an observer at this elevation, this is how much should be obstructed based on the output of the application of these things. I've never heard it though. Do you have it?
Are you denying the fact that things can be obstructed bottom up on a flat surface?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. What about refraction?
Well, you feel free to provide the conditions of refraction that can cause that to happen, and then show in reality where that happens.
Well, people show that all the time. I've been in the flat earth for 8 years, and I've been seeing this for 8 years. So for you to deny that it happens, you're either being a troll, like you're calling this other guy, or you're lying.
Well, I would love it. You can just paste it right into the live chat, and I'll put it up on my screen. People can then see the actual like things you're talking about.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'm on my phone in the grocery store, but I'll do that.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's a channel if you want to search for it. I'll post it, but it's called Sky Free.
Yeah.
And these people do these type of observational, if you want to call it experiments, whatever. And they
I've
go
seen
in,
them.
like they do it in their home, they do it outside. Okay, so you've seen them. So then you've seen the effects that they're capturing when, say, they're indoors and they open the sliding glass door and they let in a different, density medium of air because of the temperature, and then it obstructs things from the bottom up. So you have seen that then, correct?
I have. And so what I will say is the one thing that they never do is they never actually have any quantification of the conditions. So lacking that, how can you take that out to the large scale and say, well, these are the same conditions? You don't know what the conditions were on the small scale. You also don't even know what the conditions are on the large scale. So you have two things that are unknown, and you're saying that this one here somehow is the same as the other one, yet you don't have any idea what conditions are in either instance. So it's not very useful there because you don't know which way refraction is or what amount refraction is causing things to happen. You don't know the conditions. You don't know the temperature stacking, the pressure stacking. It's not too much about pressure. It's mostly about temperature at this elevation. So lacking that, it's an interesting thing to say, yep, cool, but let's get the measurements. So, and the problem is in the small scale here, the measurements that they're going to need to do to get these particular gradients is going to have to be potentially millimeter scale temperature gradient measurements, which is difficult to do, but they've chosen to do it at such a small scale. So that's what they're stuck with.
Okay. So 3 minutes ago, I asked you if it was even possible for something on a flat surface to be obstructed. You said no. I said, what about refraction? You still said no. I then said, what about Sky Free? You said, oh, I've seen those videos. Yeah, I've seen them do that.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, they didn't provide measurements. So it's not that it's not possible. It's just that you, MC Toon, aren't happy that they haven't provided all the necessary measurements that you would require of them. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'll give a caveat to that, that the particular conditions that are necessary aren't the conditions that we ever see in reality when we're like, here's something that's 20 miles away, blocked bottom up. The conditions that are necessary for that, for refraction, are never what you need for that.
Well, how do you how do you know that?
because I've done the study. I know I've done my homework. I know what conditions are necessary for that to happen, and I know the dramatic amount of cold air that has to be higher than warm air, and I know that those conditions are very unstable, and they cause chaotic observations in the air, and not a rather smooth and regular non-chaotic view. So when you look at things where you don't have all sorts of craziness in the view, you're like, oh, look, everything's kind of smooth and something's obstructed bottom up. We don't have wild variations in things that we're seeing, and things aren't wobbling all over the place. Well, that is not the conditions that are necessary to cause flat surface bottom up obstruction. Those conditions are very specific, and they're unstable, and there's definite signs of them in the atmosphere when they happen. So I'll complete the caveat with those conditions are not what we see when we find bottom up obstruction happening.
Okay, so in an instance where I know you're gonna say what you just said about this example, but I'm going to use it. So in an instance where we see something like the quote unquote black swan, you know what I'm referring to about that, right? Just yes or no?
Yep.
Okay. So in that instance, when whoever says we see too far, the horizon should be whatever the formula is, I forgot, 1.22 times the square root of the tangent, height in feet, blah, 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 bull crap. And so the horizon should be at the 3 foot observer height should be, say, 1 point whatever miles. And then the crane is over 10 miles away and the horizon's past that. You would say what?
There's 3 horizons in that photo. Number 1. Number 2, those are extremely highly refractive and chaotic conditions, and you can tell because everything is messed up. The crane going off diagonal is all warped. It's obviously not reality. The crane doesn't actually look like that in reality. So the formula that gets quoted all the time is described as no refraction. So, and you can have you looked at the source of that?
Don't need refraction.
BMLFP 69, you mean?
No, the source of the formula.
The source of what formula?
The distance to the horizon formula that always gets quoted.
Yeah.
What is it? What is the distance to the horizon?
The distance to the horizon, no refraction. That's the important one.
No. What is the distance to the horizon in which the boat goes over the distance from the viewer to the horizon? What is that distance?
Okay, I was talking to Chris.
Yeah.
Did you want to hijack this right now? Is that what you're trying to do? I can talk to you later.
Come back in a bit, your angle.
I don't have much. I don't have much longer.
There's lots of people waiting to ask questions.
All right.
I only have enough few minutes. So.
Okay, so I linked to the source of the formula, which is 1.22 or 1.23 times miles times the square root of the height in feet. That is the no refraction formula. So you look at that web page there that I just linked. That's the no refraction formula. So if you're going to look at Black Swan with all that very obvious refraction and then use the no refraction formula, you're just lying, which is normal. We know flat earthers have a tendency to lie. They have a reputation for lying. And if flat earthers are going to say, hey, let's look at the Black Swan with all this obvious refraction and use the non-refraction formula, you're lying. Now, you have a choice to lie or to not lie. If you want to not lie, then what you'd do is you'd continue reading down that page where there's a formula for refraction considered simply, which is very much obvious to not be the case for this photo, the Black Swan photo as well. Then you'd continue reading down and you'd find where it says variable gradients. And you'd read that and you'd say, well, we're getting there, but that's probably not quite exactly what's happening with the Black Swan photo here. The fact that there are 3 horizons tells us an awful lot about it. Then you'd get to the section that says nasty complications. And you'd read that section that says nasty complications and say, oh, I think we're onto something here. And the problem with the nasty complications is unless you have a really, really good handle on the confounding variables, you're not going to be able to make any prediction at all because you don't know the conditions between you and the observation.
So let me just ask you a basic question then. If we're trying to prove the surface is flat or curved, how would we do it then if we want to take a measurement or observation or something? Because the reason I asked that is you just said, you admitted the horizon is not physical. So if we know for a fact the horizon isn't physical and that it's optical, how could we ever determine if it's flat or not?
Yeah, that's a great question. Generally, if you really were concerned about it, you would not even use the horizon as your metric. What you do is you do the types of things that people have developed over the centuries to determine these types of things. You could do reciprocal zenith angle measurements where you have 2 points that are above the surface and they're not skimming the surface. So when Gauss did his measurements back a couple hundred years ago, he went from hilltop to hilltop and he quantified things when he did it there. So he didn't have the water at the end of the day where the water is a lot cooler than the air temperature is very hot and throwing off these variable temperature stacks. So that's how you do it. That's one way. Another would be to do distance measurements between lines of longitude is another great way. And distance measurement between lines of latitude. That's 2 of the different ways that people like Bessel, Clark, Mason-Dixon, Everest, all output the radius of the Earth and in great agreement with each other. There was a measurement that went vertically north-south across South America to get they wanted to get near the equator, so they went across South America to get the north-south. So those are the ways to do it. Is you'd measure the distance, those methods, and the horizon is not a great way unless you're going to be very careful with controlling for confounding variables.
Okay, flat earther tune, but can I ask you a quick question about the flat earth photo, the black swan photo that you were just talking about?
Okay.
Make it very quick then, Zant, because I've got a queue of people waiting to ask questions.
Sure. Yeah, I was just going to say, you were saying how there's sort of the confounding variables and all of this. But there's like some things in the photo that are known, right? The location or the distance to the rig and the amount of distortion. Is it possible to figure out what the conditions were by looking at those effects?
Yeah, you can go the other direction and say, well, here's what we saw, and let's input the same thing for flat Earth. Let's get the same result for flat Earth and the same result for the globe. It's actually kind of difficult to get the same result presuming flat Earth. But you can get it without too much complication for the globe, and I can give you a link to that because it's been done.
Oh, okay. Well,
Black Swan. Let's see.
Our naval defense system measures distance.
Your angle.
Okay.
All right. Here is a simulator that can output. You can customize, and then it can output the specific conditions necessary for both flat and globe to get. I mean, the flat doesn't look too close, but the globe is okay.
The Metabunk one. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So that one there gives the it's a wacky temperature profile, which is what you need, and those are conditions that are possible and unstable because it goes from cold to hot to cold as you go up in elevation, which is that when you get cold above hot, that's the unstable part, because then you're going to get ducting boundaries, and you're going to get the cold air that wants to move down below the hot because of convection.
Yeah. So you're getting like two different weather systems coming in, and then probably like a current under the water, and
the water cools the air, and but the air's hot, so then you get these drastic changes in temperature.
I have one final question for Toon, and then I got to go.
All right, Chris.
Toon, can you give us a summary of what you're going to do when there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
I have stated on my channel, if that is the case, if it doesn't do what the globe predicts, that I will. I need to still create this video, but I will have, before I leave, a video on my channel stating that the Earth is flat, and then I will delete all the other globe videos on my channel. I'll have two channels with just one video on each of them, and I'm gone. You won't see any more videos on those channels. I have a whole video going over those things. And Chris, if you want to provide a script, I would accept a script from you. I haven't received any, so it looks like I'm going to have to write it myself, but you could send it to me.
This could be one of MC Toon's last ever lives.
It could be if the sun
here in this server, historic,
and it's even more broad than if the sun sets, because the flat Earth doesn't actually predict the sun will set. Flat Earth predicts that the sun will be northwest, northeast, and due north, never south. So if no matter what, if it doesn't match the globe, super broad, if it doesn't match the globe, it's flat. I'll say. So
I would write your own script, MC Toon, because Chris in his ear can't very good at writing.
Oh, I'll write it for him.
If you watch the video, I put a caveat on there. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything immoral or swear or any of that kind of nonsense, right?
Of course not.
So
there was a video.
I'll go ahead, Chris.
Last comment. There was a video. And this was a while ago. This is probably like 7 or 8 years ago. Nathan Oakley interviewed a guy who said he lived in Antarctica. I forgot his name. It's on his channel.
Robert Shortman.
Way before.
Yep,
Robert Shortman. Yeah, and he described exactly what you just said. That it raised in the northeast, it went over, and then it set in the northwest.
He did not say that. I watched that video. He was very unclear.
He said it looked like an arc. He said it looked like
an arc. It looked like an arc, which is what we predict. But
northeast, northwest.
But he did not say it set. But I can tell you, in that interview, Robert Shortman held up a book called Empire Antarctica by Gavin Francis. And in that book, do you know what Gavin Francis said in that book? Because Gavin Francis was the doctor of the base that he was on. Do you know what he said in that book?
Nope.
He said the sun was up for 24 hours a day, several different times in that book. Do you know how I know that?
Because you talked to the man.
Because I'm holding the book in my hand right now. A midnight sun swung over the South Pole, page 113. But the greatest find was in a photograph I took soon after arriving at Halley. A midnight sun swung over the South Pole. The ice was scored with sledge tracks glinting in the sun the way water glistens in the furrows of a plowed field. He's a good writer. I like how he writes. He's British.
We're gonna find out in a week and a half.
We are. I have money on it, and I bet Moose if anybody wants to bet against me.
What was it, 10,000?
What's the website where you can bet?
I will hold on, I'll get it. It's Bet Moose. And there's 3 of them. There's one that I put my money on. I'll post it in the chat here. So if any flatties want to bet against me, this is your chance. If you think I'm wrong, if you think the sun will set, then you can come take my money. I have in here already, I don't know, $3,500 wagered at this point.
I have a wife and 3 kids. I don't have that kind of cash.
Right, Merle wants to ask a question, and he's been waiting.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Bye, everybody.
Are you here, Merle?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Jim. McTune, I won't take too much of your time here. I just want to ask, because I've been listening to Witset, I've listened to Jeranism a bit. What I'm trying to figure out for the realists out there is what are you hoping to find in Antarctica? Because I'm just having trouble finding the thread or the point of all this, because it doesn't seem to me it's about globe Earth or flat Earth anymore. Like it's much bigger than that now.
So, well, I'm honest in saying that I'm going there to document. I'm looking for something at the moment. I don't think I'm going to find it. I'm looking to document the 24-hour sun or lack of 24-hour sun, and do it in a way that is not something that people can say fake about. So to have a significant amount of different ways that it's done, including hopefully we're going to be able to live stream, though we can't commit to that because the technology may or may not come through for us. Starlink needs to be able to function, and the satellites don't go down to 80 degrees south in large numbers. So whether or not we can live stream or not is still a question.
Because there's a chance, right, that this will gain worldwide recognition, right?
Well, only if the sun sets, I suppose. If the sun doesn't set, then everybody will say, hey, yeah, we already knew that.
Yeah, because it's like there, regardless of what some people think or say out here, there's people very interested in this subject, worldwide now. And so I'm just doing my best to extend the olive branch, because I think this is important for all of us, because when you take the sort of teams and the division away, which we're all trying to understand if what we've been told is true, about the Earth. There's other things that, might not fall in that category, but the basic investigation is the Earth really a planet? Have we been told the truth about it? And how does this, the parameters of the environment we're all existing in, and then if a 24-hour sun is seen in the south, what does that then mean for flat Earth and heliocentrism and all that
well, you
stuff?
tell me, what do you think a 24-hour circling sun means to you?
Well, I guess there's always been the speculation that the sun changes position. You know, it sort of goes from there's an equator, and you'll have a northern 6 months in the north, 6 months in the south. So I don't think it's as damning as some people think. But when it comes to models and this, AE map with an ice wall around it and a dome over the top, that might take a pounding. You know, that meme might.
Well, yeah, certainly that's utterly ridiculous, and so it's going to take a lot of copium to patch up some other ideas for what might happen. And we all know if there was actually anything valid, they would have already coughed it up. But at this point, there's a lot of scramble.
Well,
they're already walking that back soon, right? I mean, we're seeing it right now. They're abandoning that AE map. They all said, "Oh, this is why UN uses this. This is why it's here."
Oh, yeah.
They're all walking it back and saying, "We don't have a map. We don't have a model. No, nobody agreed that this is actually what it is."
Yeah, of course.
Well, because there's a lot of people here, McTune. I just want to just say I respect you for going down there with two people like Sharonism and Witsit. I wish you all the best on your adventure. And I hope, you can all stand there and have that mind-blowing moment,
Well, it'd be mind-blowing to whom?
I think everyone involved, regardless of what side we're on, this is a pretty significant moment in the whole investigation. So, I'm not here to start trouble. I think it's good.
Right. Gakushi, I believe, is got something to ask.
Okay.
Are you here, Gakushi?
Yeah. Thanks. So I don't want to take too much time because I already had a talk with McTune a couple months ago. But I just want to say to your first statement, it's incorrect to say that if you're denying the globe, you're automatically a flat earther, because that's the statement you made. That's incorrect, because there's many people that deny the globe, but they could be concave earthers, they could be truth seekers. There's many variables, so it's not an automatic flat earth assumption. But my question is, why? Because somebody came in here earlier when you came on, and I guess you were talking to concave, and you're like, well, I don't want to address you guys yet. So why is that? Why isn't there a rep from other communities going down there with you guys?
Because they did not choose to go down. This is an open invitation to everybody on the globe to come. And so there's the fact that there isn't somebody from Camp X is because somebody from Camp X didn't do a fundraiser and choose to come down here. So I fundraised my own way. So far, Will has sent me a backpack, a water bottle, and some gloves. So that's the what he's so very generous of him. I appreciate that very much. Everything else has been crowdfunded and from my own pocket. So anybody else could have done it. The biggest concaver could have done it, whoever that might be. The biggest hollow earther. In fact, there are 0 flat earthers that crowdfunded as well. So an interesting dynamic there.
Well, the only thing with that is they're not talking about paying them themselves, right? So because the criticism is there was 4, or I guess how many flat earthers were paid for? 4 of them or 2 of them, right?
In the end, it's all 4 are being paid for.
Yeah, so 4 are being paid for. So the criticism is, why couldn't, let's say, Duffy was sponsoring this? He could have paid for 2 flat earthers, and then the other 2, it could have been other people, right?
Could have, yeah, but what serious other groups are there? There's concavers aren't serious. They just think they're Jesus, right? Let's be serious.
And concave is not incompatible with a 24-hour sun that circles around you, because they're on the inside of a dome that has infinitely magical bendy light that can make everything appear the way it does.
Yeah, it's just special pleating up and down. Yeah.
That's the argument I've heard from concave, because they believe that there is a 24-hour sun just like the globe earthers, and that's one of the reasons why they're saying they weren't invited.
Right, it doesn't make any sense, because
they weren't invited because they're inconsequential. That's why. There also weren't any pyramid earthers invited because they're not consequential. There's a guy that thinks that the Earth is two flat disks with a magical Pac-Man between them and the sun somehow between the two flat disks. I think his name is Jamie Rowe. He has a website dedicated to it with a forum and that nobody talks on. If you want that, it's called Dual Earth Theory, DET. Why was he not invited? Because it's inconsequential.
Okay, I'll just ask one more question and then I'll let everyone else get in because I know people are waiting. So my last thing is, so when you go down there, this is for a 24-hour sun disk, correct? We're not talking about a daylight, right?
Yeah, we're looking for the sun. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm bringing the P1000 and I'm bringing a solar filter, and I will be taking photographs specifically right at local solar midnight, which is when it will be seen due south. And at that same time, because it will be near Australia, there's a bunch of people in Australia and hopefully, from other positions as well, but that's the English-speaking country in the vicinity, we'll be taking photos as well so that we can get pictures of the sunspots, because the sunspots are a fingerprint of the sun and they change constantly, slowly, but they change constantly. So from day to day, you can identify different sunspots. So if we get pictures of the sun due south in Antarctica and people in Australia get pictures of the sun and they show the same sunspots, well, that tells us we're taking a photo of the same sun.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, thanks for hosting this, and McDoon, thanks for your time. I'll let
thank you.
others get in.
No worries. Messi, I believe, has a question.
Yes, sir. So, hey, I got a quick question for you, man. A lot of my buddies, and I think a lot of people out there today, they think that we didn't land on the moon. Like, what's the best evidence you have that we actually did? Because a lot of people are saying, no, we didn't. It was staged. You're the expert, so I thought I might as well ask you.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's off topic, but I'll address it briefly. The one that I like a lot, there's plenty, but the one I like a lot is that Apollo 15, they dropped a hammer and a feather. They fell at the same rate, which tells you that either they put a weight in the feather, which is, I suppose they could, or that it was done in a vacuum chamber. But that's not the key. The key part is how fast it fell. So this is really just about the hammer. The feather doesn't even matter for this. You can count the frames, how long it took from when you dropped it until it hit the ground. And from that, you can get the acceleration by applying kinematic formulas. And once you know the acceleration, then you know that it's not 9.8 meters per second squared. You know it's 1/6 of that. That's how you know it's on the moon.
You're going really deep into it. I'm saying for the average person that says it was like CGI, for example, that's the best representation.
That's easy. There was no CGI in the 60s. Nothing at all like that. So that's easy. But I know you don't mean that, right? Like somehow faked would be what you mean. Yeah. So I would say all of the Apollo missions had video. All of them show things like dust flying around and not billowing out. And again, falling in parabolic arcs. Similarly, you can do the kinematic equation analysis on them. But the simple case, people aren't going to do the kinematics. They're just going to see, well, this is dust. It's not billowing out, and it's doing this arcing thing. So those are pretty good too. But I don't know
I'll throw in what I think is the best evidence here, and I think the best evidence is the observations that were made from Earth of the spacecraft in flight. And there are many examples of this. People took photos. There's loads of accounts of it. Just amateur astronomers, people in the street saw things. I mean, I think that at the very least, I think that tells us that spacecraft of the size and configuration of the Apollo spacecraft flew to the moon. You don't actually, you can't actually put people on the moon with that evidence, but I think there can be no doubt that the spacecraft existed and made the journey.
Yeah.
McToon makes kinematic analysis sound really complicated. It's really just a very, very, very simple multiplication equation with 3 variables.
Yeah. But acceleration, time, and position.
The problem is that the average person that's saying that we didn't land on the moon is not going to even bother doing that, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying
it is an important.
You could do it.
It is an important issue right now because Whistling Diesel, who he's got almost a 10 million sub, he's a hugely popular guy in a certain demographic. He just came out with a video a few days ago where he argued that the moon landing was hoaxed, right? And then now Joe Rogan, he went back. At first he said it was a hoax, then he changed his mind after talking with Neil deGrasse, right? And now he's back on the moon hoax bandwagon. So you've got these two majorly influential people to a particular demographic telling all these young men that the moon landing is fake.
Exactly. And those guys aren't going to do this equation that you're talking about.
Yeah. So the other thing then is there are multiple countries that have photographed the landing sites. So China, India, and I think Japan all have published photos of the landing sites. The Indian ones are pretty good because they're pretty good resolution. And the really cool thing about the Indian one is India didn't do a whole lot of analysis. They're like, hey, I think we got the sites here. And then they just published their raw data. And then other people downloaded the raw data and said, oh, you also got this one and you also got this one. So the India ISRO, they didn't even know. They didn't point out, well, here's these others. They just published the raw data, and then, armchair, hobbyists found the others.
And the pictures that we have seen, maybe they're not good enough resolution for some people of the lander itself. But we can see the foot tracks leading to and from the lander, and foot tracks don't look anything like mechanical rover tracks. So we can definitely see the pattern of a footprint being distinct from a pattern of a rover. And those are photographed, like you said, by JAXA, by India. So it doesn't get any better than seeing the footprints.
Yeah.
Let's not
Got my AE map up.
Let's not forget the reflectors there, which you can point things at.
I want to be fair.
Point things slightly either side of that, you go and get the same result.
I want to be fair. The reflectors can really only be established that something went there because Russia also put some reflectors there, and they didn't have people there. So they landed their thing and then it jumped something to the side. So that's really all you can get with reflectors.
Bear in mind, you're dealing with a group of people, some of which say the moon isn't a thing. It's When
you're talking, are you talking to a flat earther who is dumb enough to watch a video by an unnamed scientist that says it's just plasma, and they're like, hey, it's just plasma. How did you know? Well, that guy said. What evidence did he give? Well, he said it. Anyway, that's one, no, you can't have an intelligent conversation with that person. But you can have an intelligent conversation about the moon landing. Well, even so, it's not all that intelligent. But once they at least admit that the moon exists and it's not plasma. Anyways, yeah, here's ISRO, the photo, and I think the bottom, what's the bottom one there? Or they're both ISRO.
For you.
All right.
I got my AE map up.
Okay.
I waited patiently.
Got it. Yep.
So, yeah, it says here it's used for longitude and time calculators.
That's right. Yeah. So you were talking about its use, and its use says that it's a longitude and time calculator. But if you look, what does it say in the bottom right corner there? The very bottom right corner, it says something.
The solstice.
Yeah. What does it say about that?
It says it doesn't go beyond the 80. There's no sunlight beyond the 80.
Okay.
There is 24-hour sunlight.
It says there is not 24-hour sunlight.
It does. It says during the portion of the day, it comes to the portion of the ice. There is no sunlight beyond the 80 degree. So that's the solstice for the sun moves around the Tropic of Capricorn during the day, lights up the southern portion of the Earth from the Arctic Circle. to some portion of the Arctic ice. There is no sunlight beyond the 80, is what it says.
Yeah.
Pacific.
But unknown regions of ice. Yep. So,
Right.
I mean, we'll be testing it. We're going to be right at 80. We're going to see if there's no sunlight. Isn't that great?
It says beyond 80. No
Yeah.
sunlight.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Oh.
If we stand there and we look south, if we're at 80 degrees and we look south and see the sun south, you know what that means?
You can't look south from the North Pole.
We're not at the North Pole. We're at 80 degrees south.
You can't look. Sorry, you can't look. Why would you look south?
We will be at 80 degrees south. You don't know how you can do that?
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's still 10
Oh my
degrees
gosh.
north.
There's
Yeah, still
700 more miles to get to 90 degrees south. So there's a good distance there. So if we look south, we stand there at 80 degrees south and we look due south and see the sun. Do you know what every reasonable person will say? 81 degrees south.
It says there's no light beyond 80.
I know that the map makes that claim, but the map is going to be proven wrong. Don't you see that? This is a problem for
You're south.
for
How
the
would you
Gleason.
look south of you?
Oh my God! Do you not even understand this? What is wrong with
I
you?
do understand.
Okay.
You'd be looking.
All right. I'll say it
Yeah,
again.
I do-
You're
I
at
do.
80 degrees south. You're not at the pole. You're at 80 degrees south. That's where I'm going to be. 80 degrees south. Now, the pole is where? How far south do you need to go to get to the pole?
90.
There you go. So how far are we going to be from the South Pole?
Well, within 10.
10 degrees. Good job. Okay. So can we stand at 80 degrees south and look south?
That would be at the other end of the world, pretty much from considering what you're referencing, right? So north to south. But
I don't
as
know
in
what-
the north, it all gets sunlight, right?
Oh my gosh. Is this
So it gets full
this can't be
sunlight.
real life?
It
This
is real, I'm afraid,
cannot be
Tune.
real
Hold
life.
Hold on a sec.
We have
I
the
don't know
best
why we're doing that right now. I was just. Well, what's. I mean, it says it, and not only that, I mean, this is patented by the U.S. government.
That doesn't
Why would
mean
they
anything.
patent
A patent means that it is unique. That's it. That's all that a patent needs. That's all it means.
Well, it
have
was
you ever?
specifically made from the
It's a patent time calculator.
Oh my gosh! Do you know?
Right.
Have you ever done a patent? Have you worked on a patent? Have you ever?
Why would I have to know what a patent is?
Well, I have.
Okay.
I have. A patent is not something. The patent office doesn't verify that it's correct. The patent office doesn't verify that it works. The patent office does one thing: it verifies that it's unique and nobody's done it before. So when we did the patents that we did, they came back with, well, how is your invention distinct from this list of other inventions? Right, the patent clerks at the USPTO had to do this, and we had to then answer to them, well, we're distinct in this, and this one does this, and that's not what we're doing, right? We had to come through and have justifications for how our thing was unique. They did not ask, does it work? In fact, one of the patents we were working on was we had not implemented at all. It was just an idea. We're like, hey, here's a cool idea. Let's start the patent work. We handed it over to the lawyers and all that. And in the end, we didn't pursue that particular one, but it doesn't matter because a patent isn't something that is in existence. It's just an idea. Whether it exists or not and certainly whether or not it's correct has no bearing on whether or not you can get a patent.
And again, the patent wasn't.
I just wanted to specify that it's just you can see the sun. With, as it says, right, from 80 all the way around, right? But it specifically says if you're at the beyond that, you don't see any light.
That's the claim. That's the claim. Yes.
Well, how are you going to prove that claim then?
Well, I was going through it before you interrupted, and I'll try it again, and then we'll see if we can get through. We'll give it a shot here. Okay, if we're standing at 80 degrees south and we look due south, something that's entirely possible, and we see the sun at 2:30 a.m. local time, we're like, hey, if we go to 81 degrees south, you know what we're going to see? we're going to see the sun. And if we go to 82 degrees south, you know what we're going to see? We're going to see the sun. If we go all the way to 90 degrees south, what are we going to see? We're going to see the sun, right? Every reasonable person will say, yep, definitely, because the sun is south of us. If you go farther south, you're just getting closer to the sun. You're definitely going to see it. It won't just, you don't just like cross a line and then it blinks out. That's not a reasonable thing that real people say in reality. That's something that only a crazy person that doesn't understand how things work would say.
My question is how are you going to be proving your position?
Proving what position?
Well, 81, 82, 83.
I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if you don't understand that, then you're too short to ride the ride.
That's not scientific, sir. Sorry.
It's extrapolation, perfectly valid in science.
The way to determine where they are is by the angle of the sun. So at its local midnight, at 80 degrees south, it'll be 13 degrees above the horizon. They go one more degree south to 81. Not only does the sun remain in view, it's now even higher.
It'll be 14.
If you go all the way to 90 degrees south, they'll not only continue to see it, but it will be higher than 80 degrees south.
It'll be 23.
Yeah, so it's increasing, not going dimmer, not blinking out. Not all of a sudden there's a wall where at 80 degrees south you can see the sun, 81 degrees you can't. At 80 degrees you see it at 13 degrees. Every single degree further south you go, the local midnight sun gets higher.
All right. Do you have
How far are you going?
It actually runs across the.
All right. Well,
because it's held back on the Tropic of Capricorn when it's south, right? And then when it's north, it's on the Tropic of Cancer. So that's why there's no darkness, right? When you get up further north.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We know this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you're not telling us any. Everybody knows this. Is this
have light?
Is this like a? Is this like a?
You guys don't have to prove where you're at.
Is this a revelation to you?
No. Because you said you will see the light. Then you just agreed with me that. But it says here you just agreed with me on where route it's on its solstice. So which would mean it would actually be back further. So you should see darkness then.
In Antarctica?
Yes.
No, we should not see darkness on the December solstice in Antarctica.
Beyond 80 degrees, yes, we should. According, if it's Capricorn.
According to what?
According to the maps, the forever.
The maps, the forever.
Yeah, the actual globe map that's been, that's had the grid system.
According to the globe map, here, let me make it clear. According to the globe, on or around the equinox in September, the sun should rise at 90 degrees south, and then it should do circles for 6 months and then set on or around the March equinox. That's according to the globe. According to the globe, on the day of the solstice in December, right at the circle, the Antarctic circle, just one day, they should see the 24-hour sun circling just for one day. And everywhere in between will have a varying number of days, and the amount of variation is based on a sine-cosine relationship.
Is not what now? Based on, sorry.
A sine-cosine relationship. Slacker just posted a very nice diagram. You could click on that. That would be that's maybe more your style. So
no, it's not my style. It's the same thing though.
It's not.
Right. So that's right. But so exactly.
He wants it in crayon.
It's on a different course, right? It's actually further away from the north. And it would be the south, as it shows right there.
Dear Lord, there's something wrong with you.
You should see darkness, to be correct.
My goodness.
We can always arrange a full-on debate between MC Tune and your angle if you want it.
How?
No, I'm just saying. It's. I mean, come on.
How is this so baffling to you?
In order for your guys' model to be correct, right? It would have to be.
We could arrange a debate between your angle and a recording of your angle.
That'd be great.
I think Rob's got a question. Rob isn't a flat earther, of course, but
okay.
No, he'll probably have something contentious.
Thank you for your time, MC.
Okay.
Hang around your angle, have a think about it. We can pop back in a minute.
No, I got to go get dinner, man. So
okay.
Well, I don't want to take up any flat.
All right, thanks, your angle.
Well, take your time, Rob, because we're running out of flatties, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Gempanda. I appreciate it. Austin, good to see him. MC Tune in here. It's great to see you, man. I'm a big fan. I watch a lot of shows.
Thanks.
And my question is this. After this experiment happens, and we all know what's going to happen, do you think that is going to affect the flat Earth community in a way that the people who are hanging on now, that are just basically looking for something that can be proven to them, like right now, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that's going to deter these people and maybe that they'll turn away from flat Earth? Do you think, you know what I'm saying, is this experiment going to do anything to deter flat Earthers? I know the hard ones are just they're stuck there. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's committed ones. They're not going anywhere. It's their religion and their community, and everybody needs community, and so it's going to be a difficult thing for people to want to leave. So I get that. I get that the reasoning behind that is emotional and not logical. So, but I don't know. It's hard to make a solid prediction about it. That this is going to be, provided that it happens as the globe predicts, is going to be quite a big deal because the amount of documentation that's going to be happening here is quite significant. We're going to have multiple VR cameras. I think 5 is our count. We've got a camera that's on a tracking mount that's going to take a picture, I think every 8 seconds or so, and then get stitched together. We're going to have different people around the world taking photographs of the sun with solar filters to get a fingerprint, and then that'll tell us whether or not it's mirrored left to right. If it's not mirrored left to right, then it can't be a reflection off of the magical dome that nobody's ever seen. So
that's kind of my whole point. I think that you guys are so going to be so thorough about this that you're going to give these people the information that they wanted so bad that they will have no choice but to say, this is real information this time, and we have nowhere to run now.
Yeah. And of course,
thank you, MP2, and thank you very much for doing this, and thank you, Bill Duffy, and even thank you and Jerry and Witchett for being man enough to put their money where their mouth is and step up like men and go do what they're supposed to do. Prove the flat Earth. If you believe something, prove it. If you're not in it to prove it, then just keep your mouth shut about it. That's my opinion, and I'm done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I respect to Austin and Jaron, Lisbeth, and Jonathan for going, especially the Austin and Jaron, whose their livelihood is tied to this, and the other flat earthers that ran like chickens, like Dearth and Dubé and Oakley and Mark Sargent. No respect to them. They showed their true colors. Not by
they're the wizard. They're the Wizard of Oz, dude. They're the Wizard of Oz.
And I didn't include Dean Odell in that list. He did not accept the free offer, but his non-acceptance was not the same as the others' non-acceptance. So I'll give a little credit to Dean there. That's all he gets though, because I have zero respect for the guy. But yeah, Austin and Jared, I think it's great. I think it's great that they're doing it, and they, whether they accept or reject this as evidence for flat Earth, it at least they're going, and the other people that are just poo-pooing it are, they show their colors.
They will. They will.
You don't think that this could be the turning point for Jaron or Austin to then have this be sort of the crescendo of their flat Earth career?
I've joked about Witsit. I've kind of poked at him a little bit, and it's kind of it's a pastime of mine, but that he is like pivoting to geocentrism and all these things that he's doing, and I'm like, well, yeah, he could be, but also partly, I don't think that's what he's really doing. I'm poking at him a bit, but to be honest, diversifying is a good idea. So should this completely just fizzle flat Earth, whether or not he believes, or maybe let's say he continues to believe it, but then, a month in, his audience is totally dried up, right? Then what? And, people have livelihoods. They have to put food on the table. And so, having a secondary option is a good idea. Believe me, I'm looking at this thinking, if this did what it should do, then, January 1st, what would I cover? Well, it wouldn't be flat Earth. Now, of course, I'm employed. I have a fantastic job, and I love destroying spammers, just like I love destroying flatties. So I'm not concerned about that. But there's also plenty of other things to address. I don't know if it's going to be a thing.
Yeah, we can get back to lizard people and stuff. They're real conspiracies.
Yeah, that's totally where it's at.
MC Tune, I've got two questions before I go here. The first one is, okay, right. Do you know there's a very clear itinerary of people going from this community and from the flat Earth who are going to make a part of the group of people going down there with ALB because it's a commercial enterprise. Do you know how many other people are just going down and they go skiing or have a nice time? And what do you think they're going to make of this little group of people just sneering at each other? And the other question was, it sounds like you're taking a lot of equipment, but just in case, are you going to take a flashlight with you?
I am not bringing a flashlight. I am committed.
That's brave.
I'm committed.
That's brave.
to the I'm actually cold right now. I'm putting on my sweatshirt. So the first question, what about the other people? Yeah, so this is it's basically a hotel on ice, and there are other guests at the hotel, and I don't think we're going to be the large number of them. Certainly there will be, I think to what I'm gathering, there's going to be larger than 9 other people there. Right. So, what will they do? I'm sure they'll be amused by it, but they have their own itinerary. They're like, well, let's go cross country skiing. Let's get on the fat tire bikes. Let's there's a touring plane that's a ski plane that's going to go like fly around the mountains and stuff. So there's take a hike up the mountain, go to this place where the wind carves through super aggressively. You can go ice climbing. So there's a bunch of other things. I don't know how much of those other things we will be doing or I will be doing, because certainly they're all available to everybody. Because my first goal is to do a certain amount of measurements, observations, documentation, experimenting while we're there. So.
Okay. Flamingo, I think, had a question. He's on our side.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more curious about the argument rather than the facts, right? I would like to ask. You're familiar with the Black Swan, I presume. Right?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit ago. You maybe missed that portion, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been on and off.
Okay.
For me, when I look at that video or when I look at them images, like I come to this weird. I'll just put it like this: if the Earth is like a sphere with a radius of 3,960 miles, and you can measure the distance to the horizon by 1.22 times the square root of the observer height, right? But
there's a caveat. There's a caveat to that is zero refraction. So that's no atmosphere.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Under certain conditions, you can see much, much further.
Yes.
Right. So why can't we come to the conclusion that the Earth is not a sphere, of 3,960 miles is like the modus tollens argument, right? Like we can see what we can see. Like, how do you address that argument?
The thing is, the flatties are attempting to disprove the globe, and so they're then looking for something that's impossible on the globe. But what they've identified with the black swan is something that's possible on the globe. So they didn't disprove the globe at all. They've just identified a case that's possible, but it is a chaotic situation that's not normally happening. Because the same guy, Beelzebub, whatever his name is, he had multiple videos on his channel, and that particular same video had other days listed, included in it, showing the oil rigs not dramatically mangled like that and obstructed bottom up. So the base case there, he clearly documented the base case is it's obstructed bottom up. The 1.22 times the observer height in feet. It's not the right formula because there's always refraction, especially over water. But that base case there it matches the globe without any complications at all. And the claimed black swan is just a matching the globe under conditions that are less common. That's all.
And if I may, they quite often quote that as being no more than 1.22 miles times the square root of the height of the observer.
Yeah, they like that.
And that is a misquote, because it's not more than, not less than. That is an absolute minimum vacuum condition, and to that, refraction always makes it longer. So the quote of saying not more than is what they hang their hat on, and it's a grotesque misquote. It's not less
right,
than.
but like you said, you would see that like in certain conditions. What we say, the horizon is 3 to 4 miles away, right? But when I see that black swan and I see that horizon line is beyond the furthest oil rig, right? And that just
there's three.
Could it be possible that the Earth has been misrepresented?
There's three horizons. There's three. There's a boat in the foreground that's nearer than the near platform, and the boat goes behind that one. Then there's another horizon in front of the far platform because the very bottom of the far platform is obstructed by that horizon. And then there's yet another horizon beyond the far platform. So there's at least three horizons there. So could that be evidence that we've been lied to about the shape of the Earth? No, that's no evidence for anything at all. That's evidence that refraction exists. If you want to go measure the radius of the Earth, that's the worst way to do it. Go do it a better way.
And the integrity of the data in that photo is laid bare in looking at the distortion to the crane. So that invalidates it. So now you have competing photographs. Okay, let's just dismiss both of them. Let's not use photographs of surfside photos from the 6-foot observer because it is ambiguous. They've been arguing about this for multiple years. Let's move on to a more definitive, measurement, of which there are many. So once you end up with the ambiguity, that kind of rules out, a P900 pick standing surfside. What are you going to learn? Well, you're going to see in the aggregate, you're going to see the curvature of the Earth. But in the minimum, you're going to see some ambiguity. So it's often been in geodesy, there is no, they'd say, don't even bother. Don't even bother with surfside photos if you're going to measure the shape of the Earth, measure the dimensions of the Earth. That is an environment to which does not yield definitive results. What you learn from the 6-foot observer in a surfside photograph is the effects of refraction.
Right, but we're not necessarily looking at the mangling of the oil rigs, right? We assume that is some sort of funky refraction going on. What we're looking at is the far horizon line, like that we can see, right?
So you're looking through the mangle.
Yeah,
which means you're looking through the mangle.
Yeah, you have to control for that. You have to identify what the path of light is. And there's no way to do that because there's no measurements of the conditions necessary to measure to determine what it should look like for the globe or for flat Earth. There's no, it's a complete unknown.
I'm sorry, it's the rate of induction, right?
No. Induction.
The rate of, I forget the rest of his word salad, but it's the rate of induction over something.
Induction is induction is an electrical circuit term when you pass alternating current through an inductor, a coil of wire. The magnetic fields interact with the wire, making it not want to flow through the wire. There's other definitions for induction, but yeah.
Okay, did anyone else want to ask something? I think there was someone.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to ask you something.
Is that Jake?
I was curious if there's any plans of you, if any one of you chopping this up and making something in the style of Beyond the Curve, something like they did, because this is kind of a big deal. Put notes in the modern history of flat Earth.
Yep.
So you kind of have the rebirth of it, then this could be another this is going to be another big footnote.
Yeah. So there is. So Mark Herman is coming along, and he asked Will, well, "Are you going to make a documentary?" And Will's like, "I wasn't planning to." Then Mark said, "Well, he was in a wedding with somebody, and he's a documentary filmmaker and a flat earther. Why don't you ask him?" So Will asked this guy, because Will had basically, for not a whole lot more money, like almost not any more money, could bring one more person. So he's like, well, I could bite the bullet and do that. So he contacted Jonathan. Jonathan is a flat earther, and so Will has contracted with Jonathan to make a documentary of it. So Jonathan will be there. So he's the fourth flat earther going. So that will happen. But now Jaron and Austin still retain their privilege to have final something to the wording, to the effect of final edit or final something say on the documentary. So because they don't want it to be a hit piece like Behind the Curve.
Will you be measuring in sheep units, Mattoon?
Yeah, sheep units is definitely the wave of the future. We're going to find out how many kilo sheeps away the sun is.
No, Skittles. You have metric Skittles and imperial Skittles. This has all been mapped out.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, I'm very familiar with Scottish sheep units. The Scots use sheep for everything.
Smoots.
Into the break. I had a question.
Oh, hello, sir. Thank you. This was a really great get together. I wish Mattoon all the best of luck on his cruise out to Antarctica. That sounds like a lot of fun time. My question it was related to celestial navigation. So I am wondering if there is any place within the method of celestial navigation that the ramp of perspective is included.
Yes.
And if so, where?
Yeah, celestial navigation includes perspective. Perspective is just the application of trigonometry to distant objects. So, yeah.
Hey, anyone else?
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Okay.
Oh. Well, and we talked about this before you joined here, Toon, but if there's any human on Earth that's kryptonite to Witsit, it's you, right? He can't stand you because you absolutely, you corner all his arguments, and there's nothing Witsit hates more than being cornered. And now you're going to be stuck on a plane, and then you're going to be stuck in this camp with him, right? So is that going to be awkward? Is there like a truce that's been negotiated? Because it's not like he can just turn you off his turn you off his Zoom or whatever, right? He's going to be stuck next to you.
So I told him I'm not going to stir things up. If any stirring happens, he would have to initiate it. So when we get there, I'm going to say, "How you doing?" Shake your hand. Let's go. do what we do here and leave the other stuff behind. I'm happy to do that. And I hope he is too. I hope that's what we get. Obviously, we have beef and contention and different personalities great against people, and different personalities do well with each other. So I'm hoping that we can just not have that be an issue while we're there. So
I mean, you did make a video of him calling him a narcissistic personality, right?
Oh, I did. Yes. Yes. And I documented it, of course. Yeah.
So you're not going to be cornering him and asking. Well, let me just last question for two. So you're not going to be cornering him and asking him to show you his flat Earth solar eclipse path calculator.
Well, I mean,
that he says he has, that he claims that he has.
Of course, he says that. It's interesting, because just a week ago, SE Montreal said that there was one as well from the Antarctica there mechanism, and he was going to send it to me. And Vika Draziv, back I don't know how long ago, said that he had, but none of them have it for some reason. When it comes to actually sending it, they don't have it. So I don't know. No, I'm not. It's not about the eclipse down there. It's not about. It's not about like just pressing for stuff. Because when in a debate, I press for stuff to expose that they don't have anything. Right? If you say the Earth is flat, it's incumbent on you to provide evidence for flat, and all of the things that we use the globe for. How can you use the globe if it's flat? You're going to have to not use the globe. So you have to provide all of those things for flat to replace the globe, because they're incompatible with each other. Distances across the surface of the Earth are drastically different, flat versus globe. So what are you going to do? Celestial navigation works. We can do celestial navigation and get our position. And Flat Earth can't even do it. It when the experts in Flat Earth, Flat Earth Celestial Navigation, who said that Flat Earth Celestial Navigation was the only thing that worked, when I offered them $10,000, they scattered like cockroaches.
Yep, I certainly did.
Oh, come on.
Will you be there for the first sunrise of the 24-hour sun? Like, will you be there the night before, where they'll see the sun come up and then just not go down, or are you going to be there where it's already up?
So we are not going to be there. I think the sun's already up there. We're not going to be there like when it comes up. That was like I don't know, month and a half, 2 months ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, I guess you're right. It just gets higher on the.
Yeah. So the lowest it will be in the sky is 13 degrees. At local solar midnight, which is about 2:30 a.m. there, which is I think about 11:30 Central Time.
I did not think the question through.
Yeah,
but yeah, no.
How many days at camp in Antarctica?
Yeah, the plan is to land on the 14th and fly out the 18th. And ALE is they're like, well, weather affects things. So if you're delayed by a day, everything shifts by a day. So don't have your return flight be rigid. Be sure to be able to shift that if you need as well.
It's 11:30 p.m., right?
Yeah, 11:30 p.m. Central Time is 2:30 a.m. in where we will be in Antarctica. So I'm hoping to have a live stream at least one of the days there of
How do you guys attend to address the battery issues with the cameras? Right?
Yeah. So I have several of the 27,000 milliamp hour bricks, and we have where we're going to be. We have a generator, so we will be able to charge them, so we can swap these bricks back and forth. So like
you won't have to turn it off and swap batteries. You just plug in a different brick. Huh?
Well, it depends on the camera. So like my P1000, I have a dummy battery in it, so I can't hot swap the one battery. But like the DJI Action 5 Pro that I have has an internal battery, so I can unplug the brick for a couple hours actually, and then plug it back in Same for like the Insta360, can go off the battery for, as you know, certainly an hour or two, even in the cold, but we can long enough to swap the battery out, you know, so we'll ferry back and forth the batteries from the camera to the charging station. Now,
I have a question.
Let me finish this. I think that Jaron has his camera doesn't have that opportunity. So I suggested to him that he have a brick that can charge while it's charging. So the one that I have from Romos, ROMOSS, can do that. So you can actually like keep the same battery there all the time and have another one charge it. So that gives you an opportunity to do a hot swap still.
MC Toon.
Yes.
Professor Dave has done a drunk live cast, and so has Craig. I think we deserve a drunken McToon.
I think there's two times where I had a little.
And I don't mean tipsy.
Oh.
I don't mean tipsy.
Oh,
I mean drunk off your ass, man.
I did a year ago I did a Star Wars holiday special one, which of course requires it. I had a pint of Irish cream, and
that's an abomination. That's an abomination, Star Wars.
And
May
then
the fifth be with you.
Thanks, Bob. And then I did another one where I was getting some super chats to have me take a shot, so I did a couple. So I'm a lightweight, but I don't know, I suppose.
What I missed?
Can I read a couple super chats from the YouTube audience here?
Yeah, go ahead.
650 people on YouTube watching right now. Thank you very much, everybody. Lauren Illuminous Pooh says, as always, I have but one question for the Flurfs. 44-hour signal round trip. Where is Voyager 1? They just have denialism. Even though people are employed that still work on it, they just deny that those people exist. Icy Spin says, silly wabbit, Flurfs are just kids. Well, babies. Roger that says, I wish you the best trip possible. Stay safe, stay warm. There isn't much meat on Witsit's bones, but hungry is hungry. No one would blame you. No, this is not. What was that movie where the plane crashed in the Andes? That's not what's happening. Tim Davidson says they're flurf lighting themselves. Gaslighting? No one is gaslighting you. What are you, crazy? Gaslighting. FFS. Icy Spin says flurfs that hate the label. Embrace your stupidity. Harsh words, Icy Spin. And true. It was called Alive. It was the Uruguay rugby team, says Max MXXD, who's from Uruguay, Montevideo. Icy Spin says, ask them to steelman Polaris on the globe like Hakeem did. Oh my gosh. Did you see Hakeem and FTFE and Hakeem's misunderstanding of Polaris? It was chef's kiss for, yeah. Oh yeah. Rob Noxious says, shout out Gempanda's server. Gempanda is hosting this. This is I think the first time I've done a live stream on his server. I've every once in a while I pop in. I do love hearing Gempanda's sultry voice. Gempanda, you want to give a little boost for your server here?
Yes. Please come and see us. We are. I don't know, we've got quite a few flatties in here, but not as many as we'd like. So it's particularly if you're a flat earther and you like to argue, this is the place to do it.
There you go.
We let you be rude to each other as well. So it's that.
Well, it's not just flats, the moon landing. Jim is an expert at the moon landing.
Oh yeah. Tell you, the British people who have an interest in the moon landing are absolutely the best.
Oh, thank you very much.
So,
the moon landing is like the flat earth marijuana. It's the gateway drug. A lot of the flat earthers say, well, when I realized that the moon landing was fake, I know that NASA's a bunch of liars. So therefore they're lying about everything else.
Right.
Of course.
They do love it. And I think most people who argue for a hoax don't really know a lot about it. I know there are a few now that do, but most are just ignorant, you know.
Yeah.
What's up, Gempanda?
So let me.
What's going on?
I got a couple other things here before we go, if I can. Let's see. We've got Ernie Matthews says, for a pint of gas or 2 pounds of beans, for $5. Thank you for that. Darkstar 4400, who funded the action cam that I'll be getting for while I'm awake, I'm recording. That's what you will have afterwards. Thank Darkstar 4400 for that. Says, come to Colorado, climb up to Timberline, then check out the Timberline on a distant mountain. For some weird reason, that distant Timberline is always lower than where you are. Damn. Monkey Cat Pat Pat says, hello from the shower. Yes, I'm in the shower and I have a beard. Don't judge my life decisions. I'm an adult. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should believe that or not, but I'm going to believe that. In the shower, listening to this, sending a message. Technology.
You have an odd following.
That is true. Lisa says, ask the Flurfs why so many leaders in the Flurf community declined to go to the final experiment despite being truthers. And of course, we all know truthers are not. That's it. That's the end of the sentence. Truthers are not. Because if they were, then they would look at evidence and say, oh, there we go. Because how many flat earthers have done what I've done? Say if we have something that in Antarctica that contradicts what we've been saying for all these years, I will delete my channel. I'll do this. All these different things I have committed to. There's no flat earthers with channels that have done that. There are a few individuals that have said that, and thank you for that. Like Shifty Eye Shady is in the chat here, has done that, and some others, but none of the big channels. Mark Sargent didn't say, well, if the sun does circles, then he's going to quit. He didn't say that. Even though
unnecessary concession.
Even though
they'll just shoehorn it in.
Even though flat earthers have been saying for a long time, this month is Eric Dubay's 10-year anniversary of his first upload to YouTube on flat Earth. So Eric Dubay has made very bold claims about Antarctica that will potentially be falsified. And if he were honest, if he were a truther, he would then accept this truth. But he isn't a truther.
I got 2 questions for you, man, real quick before you go.
Okay.
All right, keep it real. Appreciate you doing all the journey and gonna share the data and all that. Please keep it real. Thank you. 2 questions. Do you since you're going that far, are you not thirsty to like see more of Antarctica since you're gonna be right down there?
I would love to, but there's financial challenges there, right? So I could you can, for another X $1,000, you can go all the way to the South Pole Station. I don't have that, right? It's cool for me. I would love to see it, but I wasn't going to crowdfund that, you know.
Or even go straight across or zigzag. That'd be awesome. And then what portion do you think like do you like being in this community because you want to make the flat earthers concede, or you want to make fun of them, or you're like a little bit in the closet waiting for the flat earth map type shit? And then do you think your followers are a lot like you also, or do they fall into a different category? Thank you.
I started doing this just on a whim when somebody said he'd pay $10,000 or $100,000 if you could make a map, flight chart that you could do 3 legs and have 390 degrees, right? And I did that, and then I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I like asking flat earthers to back up their claims, knowing that they can't. It just tickles me when they'll say, well, here's this thing. Okay, well, let's see it. And then just to listen to all the squirming is just, it's a delight. And you know, it shows an awful lot about who they are and you know, their position and how they came to have that position. So it's an interesting study of psychology. But the other, like, what'd you say? the map, asking for the map that works. Of course, I know there is no map that works. It's incompatible. The globe map does work. You could not manufacture a flat Earth map that is distinct from the globe that works, because it works already. So what am I going to do? It's just a way to showcase that they don't have anything.
Well, thank you for responding to me, and thank you for documenting all the stuff you do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Toon, is there real quick, is there a conspiracy that you do believe in?
That I do. Well, some flatties have asserted that. And similarly, there's plenty of globers that say that lots of different flat earthers think that the Earth is a globe, but they do it for money, right? The grifting assertion. I think that there's very few in that camp. I don't think, for example, that Matt Boylan is legitimate. He did it. He's a comedian, and his initial voyage into flat Earth was as a character. He invented a character, and that character worked at NASA, but the human, Matt Boylan, never did work at NASA. So, the character and the person, they don't match. So I don't think he's serious. I think there's some psychology then. So you get the people that had the vehement rejection of the experiment. I think that they have, maybe you could say that internally they know, but they are somehow, doing some psychological thing to cover it up and to block it from their conscious. I don't know. It's. No. You didn't hear me. Forget flat Earth. Is there something that you, personally like 9/11 or, I don't know, the Kennedy assassination, is there something that you have that may not be mainstream? Oh, my wife asked me this the other day. And I'm like, well, I guess we could maybe talk about Kennedy, but even that, I'm not. I'll give you the simple answer. No, I haven't. I can't identify anything that I would put behind and say, yeah, I think this is an actual conspiracy. There are some. There is, Nixon, Watergate, that happened, but that's not some big grand thing that some organization is doing to fool the entire world. Then you've got things like MK Ultra, where it was people doing things that they shouldn't have been doing and keeping it secret. And then at some point it needed to be, it leaked or it came out, or for whatever reason it came out. I don't remember exactly, but was that a conspiracy that was misleading the public? No, it wasn't. It was an experiment that was shady. So
you brought up Matthew Boylan. Did you see the video that he made that he deleted? Which I think was after the Beyond the Curve documentary. He made a video where he talked about the Matt Powerland character, that it was a character he created, and he really talked about the character as a character. Do you recall that?
I do not.
Yeah, Jen, you recall that, right? He had a whole video. Because I guess they came to him, and I guess he had all these demands.
Yeah.
For money and to be whatever executive producer. He had some kind of demands. They basically told him to fuck off. But then they still included him, and so he was threatening to sue them. And he was talking. He was just livid in this video, talking about how he had developed his character over time and yada yada yada. And we actually used to have a girl that used to come in here that said that she used to write for that character.
Right. Who was that? Channel Q. Channel Q. What she said was that she'd commissioned him to do some art for I think it was a museum or an art gallery that she worked for. And I think he was supposed to paint a staircase or something like that. And he did a brilliant job of it, because he's a fabulous artist. But when she was sort of pitching him to the people that were, I guess, going to pay for it or what have you, she described him as, he's a photorealistic artist, and he has a YouTube channel where he plays a character that thinks the Earth is flat. She only ever thought of him in those terms at the start, But I think he maybe, because I think his original stand-up was from I think it's from 2011 or something like that.
Yeah, 2011, to my knowledge, is the first time that he mentioned Flat Earth. He has a video from 2009 where he points to and says, this is the first Flat Earth video, but it's not actually mentioned in it. It's only like in post analysis, you can say he was implying it, but it at the time it wasn't implying it without context. So no.
He had also bought like a huge amount of T-shirts of a picture of the Earth that said photo or painting. That he's got to sell with the character.
He's got a palette of those. That's what.
Stanley Toole says this guy should debate Nathan Oakley.
Who?
Will you debate Nathan Oakley?
Me?
I assume he meant you.
I should debate? Well, in fact, I have a standing offer to debate Nathan Oakley on Modern Day Debate. Nathan, of course, it's challenging for Nathan because he has his life partner, the mute button, that he won't leave the mute button side. He has an exclusive relationship, never to leave it nor forsake it. So that makes it difficult. But he's like, well, I have a debate show. Well, you don't actually have a debate show. There's no debates that happen on that show. It's only ironically named Flat Earth Debate. I have a show as well where I do debates, but I am happy to set aside the hosting of my channel and have somebody else host it. And certainly Nathan Oakley could be brave enough to do that as well if he weren't not brave. So, whoever it was, yes, just let Nathan know. And or at least let yourself know, because Nathan already knows that I'm perfectly willing to do that on a third-party platform where he does not have his life partner. So, and I know that's difficult. He will be very, very sad to not have his life partner with him. But, someday he's going to put on his big boy pants and be able to venture outside the house without his life partner.
But you would, of course... Sorry, go ahead. I didn't have.
I got to bring up one last thing, Toon, which was Jem and I have had this running joke in here that if we were ever, Elon Musk, or maybe not quite that much, but if we were, gazillionaires, we would, we would rent out a SpaceX Dragon mission and then get all the top flat earthers, all the things that we're doing now with the final experiment, but except we would actually put them in orbit around the Earth. But then we made the joke that knowing our luck, something would go wrong and the rocket would blow up and then it would boost flat Earth into the stratosphere. So I can't help but, God forbid, in this particular case, which is kind of the next best thing to that your airplane full of the top flat Earthers doesn't crash, because that would boost flat Earth into the stratosphere as well, right?
Well,
we just do one, right, Jake?
You're talking you're talking to somebody that's going to be on that same plane. So, I definitely am not in favor of it.
God forbid. Yeah, the math is on your side, and you're a fan of math. So God forbid, but God forbid the math works. It's not zero probability that this happens. What is that going to do to flat Earth?
Jesus Christ, Jake, that's a terrible thing to say, man.
Okay, let me.
You can just hear the flat Earthers, though, right? They tried to go south of the thing, and they just blew them out of the sky.
Well,
you can't hear somebody in space.
I can tell you one thing. At that point, it would not be my challenge anymore.
That's it. He passed the torch.
I know several flat earthers I'd like to put into orbit too.
Let me say this to close the loop on Oakley. I do have to. I have to honor those that came before me. Red's Rhetoric has had an open debate invitation to Oakley for more than 2,000 days. Thank you, AT2, for reminding me. And so I can't do it until Reds has. I mean, of course I would. I'm not concerned about that. But Reds does have dibs, and I'll just take sloppy seconds.
I would say Bro Sanchez, but he disappeared. He don't talk about flat Earth no more.
Yeah, I was trying to shake him down, and his testicles shriveled up inside and went away.
Yeah, he disappeared. He don't talk about flat Earth no more.
Probably for the best for him. Let me read a couple more. If I can read a couple more here from my side. Tim Davidson says, the final experiment's primary goal is to raise the ocean levels with copious amounts of flirp tears. Dave Kircher, who is one of the biggest supporters of my GoFundMe, thank you very much, Dave, says, thank Titicaca, it's Tuesday, with a member super chat. And then Mr. Toffees is a new member at Newton. Thank you very much. My goodness, I got a bunch here. Lord Illuminous Poo says, done cleaning, $500 called Poo to see me through. Dome cleaning. You want to keep the dome clean. So, oh my gosh. Who's Jesus Christ is Lord in on here? Is it?
I don't know who that is, but he's got a good question for you.
He does. Well, yeah, jump on. If you want to talk to me, you can jump on live. Otherwise, we can set up a debate at some point if you want. Just typing it. Like I'm not going to watch this video live right now. I've watched it before, but read the room, figure out what we're doing here, and you can participate as we are here. I'd love it. Or if you want, we can set up a dedicated time and we can just have a lovely one-on-one conversation. Lord Illuminous Poo says, we are not lizards, we're gerbils in trench coats. Stringfellow Hawk says, after you see the 24-hour sun, you could look at Austin and say, the sun made a complete circle around us. Then you'd fall on the ground. Mic drop. Oh my gosh.
Which one of them do you think is going to admit it or go back? Which one you think is going to say, well, I guess it's back to the drawing board?
Back to the drawing board. I think all of them will say at the least back to the drawing board. But I don't know. I don't want to put out any particular predictions unless somebody wants to do it for money. I said no. Even then, I wouldn't do that. See the bet moose bet that I did. That's a sure thing, right? I'm not a gambler. That's not a gamble. So,
Woodson said as much, though. He kind of said that if there's a 24-hour sun, he's going to have to rethink.
Yeah,
right?
and
he kind of said something along those lines.
Yeah, and the fact that he's saying that tells me that he knows what we will see. He knows it, right? If he had any confidence in his position, he would not be saying that. But I think also if they had if any of them had any real confidence in their position, they wouldn't go. Which is interesting, right? The flat earthers that put on a face of being the most confident that the sun will do what flat earth says it will do, they're the ones that ran away.
I do wonder if they're going to carry flashlights. I really do.
I can tell you, I'm bringing sunscreen to put on while I sleep, and an honest flat earther would not. I'm bringing a sleep mask because the sun doesn't set, and an honest flat earther would not.
Is McFlatty going to show up?
McFlatty is desperately trying to figure out a way to go, and I'm trying to distract him. To have his mom bring him to the Mall of America. There's an amusement park in the middle of the Mall of America. So to just kind of distract him for the day that we leave to, let him ride on some rides and have a little bit of a fun,
Why don't we ever see you and McFlatty together?
Yeah, I avoid him as much as possible. That's why. I mean, can you imagine being, me walking into a family reunion and there's my ugly identical cousin across the way. And he's like, oh, he does that, from Dumb and Dumber, how he does, right? And then he just does that awkward run across the room. And he's like, it's McToon. I'm like, oh, geez, stop it, please. Yeah.
Do you sometimes lend the P9 million from him?
You may not know this, but it's just a PVC pipe. He's a little confused.
I have a question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is Israel committing genocide in Palestine?
Oh, red tape.
Jesus, oh my, not now.
Read the room.
Yeah, come on, man. Are you a Trumper or are you a fucking soy boy like fucking red tape?
Jesus, goddamn it!
Let's not get political here, guys. Earlier tonight, one of our members here posted an early release of this video from, was it Brian Leakey that had that ridiculous magnifying glass thing that was over the words that was supposed to show us the two poles. Have you seen that yet? Toon?
I have not. No.
Did someone repost that from earlier? I guess it's like an early release of one of these ridiculous explanations that they've already started doing.
Is it the same thing like the paperweight that's a dome that shows like lines, but it's not moving?
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's not moving. There you go. Yeah.
Have a relevant question. You're going to have to spend a lot of time with these people. How do you think that's going to go? I mean, you're going to get to know them pretty well. How do you think that's going to turn out? I mean, do you think they're going to be, incorrigible, or is it just going to be a big shit show? Or, I mean, you're going to have to get to know these people, right?
I don't know. I mean, Antarctica is a big place. The plane we're flying on is a 757. It's a good sized plane. And it's unclear whether or not our tents will be moved to the vicinity there or not, but maybe they will. There's still some questions about that.
Yeah, that was my other question. Are you going to be like staying with them? Are y'all staying in the same place, or?
Well, yeah. So Austin has said that he doesn't want to grant permission to me to be in my videos. So okay, well I'll have a camera going all the time, and he's he knows that, and so all he needs to do is not be on camera to not be on camera. So
that's interesting. He doesn't want to be on camera.
Yeah, and that's fine. If he knows that I have a camera. I mean, he knows what a camera looks like, and if he doesn't want to be on the camera, right? You know how to not be on the camera. So that's, and so I assume he will, if that's what is his intention, that he will then choose to not be on the camera, because being near me, he knows it's like you're gonna be on there. So
yeah, that's just, I mean, that's just an accepting of being there next to you, is that they're going to be on camera.
Yeah,
so.
And it's a big enough place. He doesn't have to. So, yeah, if I run up to him and start, bugging him, then he can complain, of course. And if he's like, don't do that, I'm not going to do that. So,
I have a
public place, Mike.
What's that, Bob?
I have a question. Toon.
You go first.
Yeah, let's go, Bob.
Yeah. If you go to the South Pole, given the way the flat Earth map is, won't you be stretched all the way around the flat Earth?
Yeah, that
would hurt, wouldn't it?
There's a real.
I mean, you're getting close to it. You're going to be stretched anyway.
There's a real place with hundreds of pictures.
Spaghettification?
Yeah, the spaghettification. There's a real place.
Oh yeah,
that really exists.
Yeah.
Where if you have a GPS receiver, it says 90 south. Where is that on the AE map? Where is that on the? We don't know what map anymore it is. I don't know what you're gonna do. We don't have a model. Seriously, that's a white flag there. You're just giving up. You're admitting that the Earth is not flat when the model that we have completely works and you don't have a model. That's polar opposites.
Fun fact. Did you figure out how to use the sextant, Mike?
I have looked through it for the sun, and I think I have a good idea of it. I haven't done it for stars. Like the couple chances I've had, it's been cloudy. It's a problem with Minnesota in the winter. So
Well, you just have to use the sun. You're not going to see any stars down there.
Well, I hope to use it in Punta Arenas to get some stars, because I'm going to get the star trails.
Okay.
And so while I'm recording the star trails, I can record the different stars, and of course I'm okay. I can identify a few stars in the northern sky, but in the south, holy cow, I won't be able to identify anything. But fortunately, there's an app on the phone.
Phone a friend.
Yeah. Well, no, the phone app, Skyview, whatever.
Has Wizard made any claims that he has made a commitment to, right? Like saying if the sun is circling, then something.
No, like very few flat earthers at all have made any commitments, and none of the big ones have, to my knowledge, said anything, even though it completely, contradicts the things that the flat earth, leaders have been saying for many years. They have just run away from it. It tells you a lot, right? They've made bold claims, including the map that I had Yaw Angle read from. Very bold claim about what it says happens in the south on the solstice. But when it's shown to be wrong, what will they do? Well, they won't. Will they, or will they not? All right. Seafoam. Don't hold on. Seafoam, don't post that. We don't need that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that okay? They tagged me to come in here and ask you, because you said you wanted to just ask me about my question. So if you're familiar with Ares failure, I just want to know if you have an answer as to why the aberration angle in Ares telescope didn't change when it was filled with water.
Yes, because the Clinker Fuse's undulating theory of light predicted that as the Earth moves through the ether, the luminiferous ether, that the light would slow down, and that it would then hit the side of the telescope. And so when that did not happen, then they were kind of confused, because they were looking. They thought the undulating theory was correct. And so it confused them that it didn't work. So what happens is the light slows down in an external reference frame, but within its own reference frame, it's still going the speed of light.
So what about the emission theory, though? Because isn't that what we use now?
Yeah, it's essentially the emission theory. Yep.
But in the emission theory, the light gets slowed down by the water. So it's still a slower velocity.
Yeah. So the emission theory. The emission.
The ratio of the velocities.
Yep. So the emission theory is essentially, I said essentially because that's within our reference frame. But general relativity, special relativity is the better understanding of it. So within special relativity, the light slows down in the reference frame of the water from an external reference frame. But within the reference frame of the water, which is the only place that the light is moving, it's still moving at the speed of light. So inside the water, it's moving at c.
Wait. In the lab, the telescope and the water and the Earth all move the exact same. They're all a part of the lab frame.
But the light travels at the speed of light in water when it's in the water. And it's a three-dimensional thing, not a one-dimensional thing.
Clinker Fuse, well, he believed in a static ether, but that's kind of like a straw man anyway, because the description that they believed in that would explain it with ether was one in which the ether caused the light to move. Because you can't tell just looking at the telescope and the light by itself if it's Earth or if it's the starlight that's moving. So they said, okay, let's put water in it, because the formula for the aberration angle is tangent theta equals Earth velocity over light inside the telescope velocity. So once we put water in it, that second variable, the light inside the telescope velocity, will be a smaller number, so the tangent theta angle should be a bigger number. it doesn't matter which model you're using because that's the formula in every model. That's the formula we even use today. And we know that light slows down in water.
Yeah. Like I said, it's still moving at the speed of light in the water, but you apply special relativity, and right, they're different reference frames. So,
but there's nothing moving at relativistic speeds. This Earth's only moving like 66,000 miles an hour or 30 kilometers a second. It's nowhere near the 10% or more speed of light needed to apply relativity. Any relativistic calculation is going to be equivalent to the small angle approximation, which is equivalent to the tangent theta angle equation at these velocities.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you're just going on pure emission theory and not taking into account special relativity. That's okay. But that's not obviously what works. Since the motion of the Earth has been confirmed externally to that previously. So this one thing contradicted the emission theory, but it didn't make any of them say, "Oh, I wonder if the Earth is not moving," because there's several other things that confirm that the Earth is moving. So
well, if
it wasn't
in the frame of the water, the light doesn't change speed. If you say it's still C in the water, at the two ends of the water, there's a speed change. So in the water, it would be C plus or minus V, because we still know that the light has got a drift, a sideways drift on it, because that's the only way it reaches the eyepiece center. That's why the tilt has to be applied. So if in the frame of the water, it's C plus or minus V.
But
that still breaks relativity.
No, it doesn't. Is the water also moving laterally?
Everything on the Earth system in the lab is moving laterally if Earth's moving.
There you go.
But if it is, then it moves out from under the starlight, and that's why the telescope would have to be tilted. So when you add water, the tilt has to change because the velocity of light is different in the lab frame.
Given how the length of the telescope, how many nanoseconds will the light be passing through the water?
Well, that's not really the issue. The emissive theory without special relativity is doesn't explain it. And so he's right. He's right on that the emission theory. So if you read the beginning of especially if you read the beginning of Michelson Morley, it talks about the emission theory of light, which kind of goes back to Newton. It's popularized back then that it was particles or corpuscles of energy, and they were emitted. Thus the emissive theory. Yeah. So
we still use that theory today.
Also, let's not forget now that we have instruments, and even in the amateur days in the late 19th century, that you can measure the stellar aberration, which is precisely the shifting of positions because of Earth's motion around the sun.
Yeah.
But there's only two variables in the formula. That's what I'm trying to get at. The formula is super simple. The tangent theta angle equals Earth velocity over light in the telescope velocity. So if you change either of those two variables, the tangent theta angle has to change. You can't have the same tangent theta angle if you change the two input variables.
Yeah, and where you missed the part where you need to apply special relativity.
Can you provide any links to any resources that show a calculation that fixes it in with special relativity? Because the change, if we measure it in the lab frame, that's where the tangent theta angle approximation is used. They don't calculate it in in some relativistic coordinate system where you apply, where you take the frame of the water and say C is C in the water. We know dynamically that the water slows the light down, right? Because if you go to the frame of the water and say the speed of light is C in the water, then as soon as the light leaves the water, it's speeding up and it's exceeding C. So it would exceed the speed of light in that frame if you force light speed to be C in the water. As soon as it leaves the water, it speeds up past C. You can't have that.
Yeah, and like I said, if you want, I can provide them. I don't have them handy though. Like I said, and to one more time. One more time to reiterate that the water is also moving laterally. So okay.
There's a second problem with it too. Because I mean, other than violating special relativity by forcing light speed to be c, there's also Snell's law, which states that if light hits a refracting medium such as water at a non-perpendicular angle, it will introduce an additional refraction angle into the system. And so if the light travels vertically, it won't do that. But if the light comes in at an angle, it will do that. And if the telescope is tilted and the light's coming in vertically, when you add water, it would have to change the angle from that reason as well. So the fact that Snell's law being applied in the system actually doesn't create a real physical refraction angle in the water means that the light's already coming in at that angle as well. And the only way it can already be coming in at that angle is if Earth is stationary.
Are you talking about the interface between the lens and the water? Or the interface between the lens and the air?
The lens, when the light enters the water, right? Because you have a stream of light coming, what's assumed to be vertically, right? If it's just starlight streaming towards the telescope. But if Earth's moving, you then have to tilt it. Well, when you tilt it, it's coming in vertically, and it's a non-parallel or non-perpendicular surface now because the telescope's tilted.
But when you tilt it, you've now made it straight in relationship to the light path.
No. It's already straight. The star's at the zenith.
Well, the star is sigma.
It's a zenith telescope. It's a zenith mount.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't straight up. It was at an angle, right? But it was. I forgot the name of the star.
Well, it wasn't a zenith mount telescope. They used 2 spirit levels to level it off to make sure it's at zenith, pointing to the true position of the star, as according to the almanac. And then they look in it, and then based on optics, they see what the arc-second correction is needed to center it, and then it becomes tilted.
Okay.
But then when they add the water, since it's tilted, now there should be refraction introduced from Snell's law as well. So there's actually 2 sources of additional angle correction that should be input, but none was needed.
Did you calculate the predicted change in angle?
Yeah, they said they believed it would be close to 30. I mean, if you just take the 20.2 or whatever it is and do 4/3, because the speed of light in water is 3/4 that of c, then that means the angle change would be 4/3 of the standard angle. So since the standard angle is just over 20 arc seconds, it bumps it up to like 28 roughly, 27, 28, close to 30. But it didn't change. So in order to analyze it, you can if you make the Earth stationary, right, and you add velocity to the water to change it to catch up to that extra angle, you'd still need a correction angle. The only way that you can make it work is if you treat the system in which you're measuring it in as stationary, and you treat the light as already coming in at that angle. So you have to use a geocentric coordinate system in order to make the physical observation as was made work.
All right, well, sorry. I was handed an orange cat. Thank you.
That's what that noise was.
Yes, that was that cat named Turtle. He was cranky because the dog is in here. And now the dog's trapped in here. Anyway, the water is moving, and the key part of it is that the water is moving along with it. But anyway, if you want, I can send you some additional resources, or we can set up a time to have a conversation.
Yeah, please send the papers. I mean, because you can't.
Like I said, I don't have them handy. So I don't have them even in my notes.
If you say the water's moving with it, though, you can't analyze the Earth as stationary for the transformation with respect to fixed stars and have an Earth that's not fixed. You're making both velocities. You're putting both velocities under transformation, and that violates Lorentz symmetry, even under a relativistic paradigm.
All right, so what is your position? Are you geocentric glober?
Concave Earth doesn't have this problem.
Yeah, so Airy's failure proves geocentrism. It has nothing to do with shape.
But you didn't answer the question. Are you a geocentric
globe.
glober?
Discuss shape. I'm here to discuss motion.
Okay.
Right. So I'm
But
a
I'm here.
Bible believer.
I'm here to discuss shape.
But you can't have heliocentrism either. So
Robert Sungenis aggressively disagrees with you.
Well, I think that the Bible is always historically taught geocentrism. It always was taught geocentrism. People didn't stop believing in it until the modern era. Even the church opposed it when it first came out as a heresy, and they were right because the Bible clearly teaches it. They had to adopt modern post hoc explanations and eisegesis of the text in order to insert heliocentrism upon it. But it clearly teaches geocentrism, and that's what the experiments show as well. The first historical famous one being Airy's failure.
Unfortunately, the movement of the Earth is
I'd appreciate the papers.
Yeah. Now, Bob,
unfortunately, as Mike said, the motion of the Earth has already been established by other means.
Yeah, previously with
what experiments?
It's not subject to. That's not the subject of the experiment.
Yeah, I can list them though. James Bradley in 1727. Aberration, which of course is this topic, right? So then you asked me. All right, I won't list them if you don't want me to.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Of course, parallax from Bessel in 1836, I think. You've got Vogel and Schneier.
That's not mutually exclusive. It works equivalently in a geocentric paradigm. Parallax.
How about you let him finish?
Okay, so obviously he doesn't want me to. He doesn't want me to finish. Thank you. We'll talk to you later, but not now, since I don't get to finish.
All right. God bless you, man.
Don't want to hear it.
I
don't care. Don't care. When you talk like that, I don't want to hear about your God. I'm not impressed with your God. Bye.
Right. Why would you use a paper from 19 whatever? Why would you not use modern day?
Have a good one, man.
Parallax figures.
Yahweh bless you.
Bye.
It's not even. It's 1871. This is a well-known and well-explained phenomenon.
John, can you do drunken drunken Icelandic men MC Tune?
And I do what?
I've got one for you.
Oh my goodness, this sounds like a treat. Well, I got a couple super chats to catch up on if I could first. Let me
get behind.
Rick 2-Bit says could have made a baby since I joined. Mr. Toffee says Fight Night Antarctica. Cygnus Step is a new member at Einstein. Ginger Sasquatch says cheers from Gem's server. Cheers, Ginger. Phuket Words brother says, in the same way that I get on well with my brother when he comes back to the UK, I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to get on well with Whitsit. As long as you don't mention the flat earth, everything should be just fine. Yeah, absolutely. So, when I meet him, it will be all smiles. And I don't intend to have anything that I introduce. And if he's the same, then we will have a treat of a time. Monkey Cat Pat says waterproof phone case and Bluetooth speakers exist. Talking about his shower. I've listened many times while showering. Have fun in Antarctica tune. I love that technology has enabled Monkey Cat Pat to listen in the shower. Lord Illuminous Boost's tune believes in the Illuminati, and you do too. Of course you do. Rocket Scientist says to Elflurfs, how does it feel knowing your greatest accomplishment in life will be donating your organs? Oh my gosh.
He's mean. He's Rocket.
It's funny because it's funny because it's true. Larry Scott says the final experiment will at minimum remove one more beam of the Flat Earth House of Cards, or one more pick from a Flat Earth Jenga Tower. One more piece from the Flat Earth Jenga Tower. Thank you very much, Larry Scott, who's in here. You've been listening to his voice. Say hi, Larry Scott.
Hey there, Mike.
How you doing? Good to have you here. And on Discord, you go by Shoebill. Yep. He's a cobbler. If you need to get your shoe fixed, you'll get a Shoebill. Greg Ware, last one here, says this great Flat Earth Tail Tuck is only days away. MC2. It is. All right. Caught up there.
Oh, cool. Johnny B, are you alive?
Johnny B.
Oh, this is going to be great.
All right. Well, maybe he's not.
Captain Jazz Planet? Jazz Pianist. I know him.
Captain Jazz Planet. Captain Jazz Planet.
I've seen him around. Oh, man. Yes, Johnny, please be up here. Nothing.
My mum bakes cakes had a question, I believe.
Okay.
We see you're unmuted, but we aren't hearing anything. My mum bakes cakes.
Having some boomer issues here.
Do a quick mic check. Yeah, all good. Hey, people.
Rocket scientist.
Okay, did anyone else have a question? Make it a bit of a free-for-all while they sort themselves out.
Rocket, you're hot mic a bit. Just
oh, look, Brian Mabbitt's here. Brian. Oh, but Brian's at work. But he might be able to sneak in.
Do you think the whole group will be able to be shoulder to shoulder for a class photo?
I don't know. The documentary guy might request that we pose for something like that, right? Wouldn't it, I suppose you can envision, like, all right, everybody stand there and point at the sun, right? Some sort of a
nothing
I don't know.
antagonistic.
No,
something much more neutral. Maybe are you all staying at the same hotel in Punta Arenas?
We are.
Oh yeah, just some in the bar, something neutral where it has nothing really to do with the observation. It's just here's the 9 people that have mobilized for this, shoulder to shoulder. Everybody give a wave, take a picture. With landscape in the background.
That'd be quite cool. I agree. That's a good idea.
2 o'clock.
If you don't speak to these guys, man, something's going. I mean, you got to go up and have a conversation with these folks.
I intend to just be all smiles and have a normal conversation. That's my intent. And if I get resistance, then I get resistance.
Well, yeah, you got to figure
some debate, right?
But you got to figure if there's some hostile, loud argument, they got to remember it's being recorded, and who's going to look like the idiot?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and Jaren's got a body cam too, so I mean, there's no shortage of video should people be doing those kinds of things.
In my experience, when you meet flat earthers in real life, it tends to be more normal than the internet interactions,
Oh yeah.
I know I'm known for going and telling them off, but normally, that was about my 2nd or 3rd time meeting them. On previous occasions, I've been kinder to them.
Yeah,
and I think it's quite hard to really lose it with them, even for someone
like George Notcher.
I went to the convention in 2019 and had good conversations with a whole bunch of people there. Even Nathan Thompson, we had some chats.
Isn't that the one you got thrown out of, though?
We got kicked out of the lobby. We were doing nothing, but there was that guy from Jimmy Kimmel that had been there, and he had just left as I came. Right. Like, I saw him leave as I walked in. So
it's not surprising flat earthers are sort of worried about people being there filming this thing, is it? Because every time there are serious people involved in filming them doing stuff, they approach it with the idea that we're just doing, it's all balanced and we're just trying to show really, honestly what's happening. And then of course they get stitched up every time,
I have to excuse myself for a minute. My wife My wife just poked her head in. I'm going to say hi to her. So you guys discuss amongst yourself for a minute, if you would.
Sure.
Yeah, and I can also say that.
Oh, there you are,
Johnny.
We needed you.
There's no debate.
While MC Toon gets back, could I have a request from Gempanda? Because I'm Max. I'm friends with MC Toon and have my own channel and kind of stuff.
I'd have to
Could
get
you
Matt.
please say one of his catchphrases? You can say one of the.
I'd have to be angry first to do it.
Yeah, Jim got to be cross with you.
Just pretend that you're angry for just a second.
Where's Red Tape? Where's Red Tape? Red Tape will get him angry.
Like imagine.
No, I don't like being compared to Oakley.
Oh, I know.
You can check out my channel to see why.
No, I understand, but the voice is
I bet you don't.
similar. It would be fun.
Yeah.
I thought you were playing both roles, Jim.
Gempanda don't dance, dude. Gempanda don't dance.
Oh, look, Johnny B is finally here.
So,
just to make sure I've got my Nathans correct, Nathan Thompson was the one that was screaming at kids, and Nathan Oakley's the one who likes to put his balls in people's mouths, correct?
That's the ones. You've got them right. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Okay.
If you haven't seen, Nathan Thompson was kind of off the radar for a while, but he poked his head out and did a debate on modern day debates. If you haven't seen that, it's a treat.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, somebody else
I'll post a link because it's, oh my lord, it's hilarious. He's doing the same arguments from 2015.
Okay, I'm going to post a video now. I'll post it here. I don't know if I can post it in Toon's chat. I probably can't, but I'll try.
And of course,
hang on. And this is why I don't get on with Nathan Oakley. It's a video on my channel called Children of the Flat Earth, a Prelude. So please go and watch it. And then you'll know.
I'll share the link with the people on MC2.
Oh yeah, cool.
I'm a mod there.
You're too late. You're too late, Max. Oh, you're too late.
Oh,
I thought Faking Flat was better, Jim.
So, Jim, I think you should also post for MC Toon's subscribers. You should also post the how I know we went to the moon series that you did.
Oh yeah,
that's showing third party evidence of the moon landing. That's a great series that you did. One of the best that I've seen on the topic.
Thank you.
Nah, Faking Flat Earth is better.
How you can remember that Oakley is the one with the nuts is because there's the oak tree, right? And the oak tree has little nuts that look like balls. Just saying.
Oh, I come here to talk with MC Toon on the. Okay.
He's just taking a short break, Johnny. He'll be back shortly.
Hey, Johnny, will you renounce flat Earth if they see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
First of all, looking up to the sky is not the right way to mess with.
It's the best way to look at the sun.
Why?
Because that's where the sun is, in the sky.
That's not the answer. That's just.
Yes, it is. Where else are you going to look for the sun but in the sky?
But why do you really have to look to the sun?
You can't look in a square room onto the square room to find out that you're in a square room. Like, it's not possible. You shouldn't look up at the room you're in. Find out that you're in a square room. That's not okay.
Okay, Johnny. The problem is that if they look, they're on the ice wall and they're looking south, and the sun is beyond that ice wall, further south. And it's noon with the sun blazing overhead in New Zealand at the same time. Do you not see a problem with that?
Yeah, okay, but I will tell you that they will not see any 24-hour sun in the south.
Hey, that wasn't the question. If the sun is above the horizon, due south of Union Glacier, outside your perimeter, and it is simultaneously over New Zealand at its local noon, high over the sky, how can that possibly happen?
Yeah, but it's not happening. It's a question. It's just a stupid question.
Okay, that's what will be seen. That's what will be observed.
No, you will not observe.
Well, that would confirm the flat map then.
How do you figure that?
Well, because it's what it shows.
No, it does not show that. It shows the opposite of that.
No, it doesn't. Literally shows it right here. Because see, here's the thing. Everyone keeps forgetting it goes on a different path, right?
Nope, we knew that. We know the path it takes.
But you're yodeling.
The Cancer, and then there's Capricorn, right? It's actually closer to the North Pole on the on Cancer, and further away from the South on the Capricorn.
Okay, so now on that map, we are further south than Capricorn and looking further south and still seeing the sun.
But you're not. Though,
you are, though.
Rex, you're a hot mic.
No, you're not, though. Because it's okay.
Yeah, we will be looking. The sun will be over the Capricorn. Yet they will have to look south. At the local midnight, they will have to look south. The sun will be beyond that outer perimeter of the AE map, and will in fact be over the top of New Zealand at the same time. It's only one sun.
Yeah, it says the sunlight there is no sunlight beyond the 80th degree.
Okay, that you shake that from your head, because that is simply just a misstatement on his part.
No, it's not. It's for both. It's for both globe and EE map.
Okay, Robotham or Gleason was a quack. He made up some silly shit, put it on a piece of paper, and for some reason, that's your evidence. Well, that has been long since debunked, overridden, further observed to be silly, stupid, and false. And for some reason, that's your go-to?
Okay, where is this at? I'd like to see where this information's posted.
He would just like to continue yodeling.
It's a scientifically approved map by the world.
What?
Sorry, I wasn't in a peer review.
The map may be an accurate AE map, projection of a globe, but the little text next to it is bullshit.
Okay, well, this is how they do time, and this is also how they do time around the world, too.
Yeah, it's a time zone.
No, we do time around the world with time zones.
Yes.
Which are not
Yes, they use this actual as mythical. They use this whole thing. That's what this is for. It says this is for latitude and time calculation.
Good.
You can figure out solar noon, not clock noon.
Yeah, and for that purpose, it's very accurate, without hesitation. He did not invent the AE projection. He just drew clock face on it and got a patent. Big fucking deal. What the text in that lower right-hand corner is simply fucking wrong. The Antarctica has been occupied, and the sun has been observed doing exactly what the globe model has known for fucking centuries.
So the globe doesn't sit at a 15-degree angle then.
No, it's at 23-degree angle relative to the orbital plane.
Darkness there then at the past the 80 degree. Then this should be true.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what he said. He's gibberish. I'm sorry.
I think he's confusing the 15 degrees an hour thing, maybe.
Yeah, obviously, because once you have once you have put two different kinds of numbers in the same paragraph, they become interchangeable.
Well,
nice try, man. Nice try.
Y'all knows English words, but he doesn't know how they interact with each other.
I don't know.
Yeah, the 23-degree axial tilt, which gives rise to the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer, the 23-degree axial tilt. I don't know why you said the number 15 degrees. That's not related to the actual tilt or the extent to where sunlight will be 24-hour continuous.
Okay, so that's what gives you at the Arctic Circle, because it's closer, right? But it's also further away from the south because of its axial tilt.
Someone should quote that one there.
Yeah, that's exactly why. What do you mean? You can go look at that up under your parallel freaking rays of light, all that crap, whatever, man. That's why you don't get any sunlight past the 80.
But we do. That's the problem there, y'all, is that is inaccurate by observation. It's not just we think it's wrong. Now we're just saying it's wrong. It has been observed to be wrong. The Antarctic continent has been occupied by humans for fucking 100 years.
Could I point
You
out
don't understand, guys.
it's like the second time that Toon asks some kind of validation about his ideas of what's going to happen in Antarctica with the flat earthers, and yet they want to talk about everything except the thing that is coming up. Like, they don't have. Previously, we had a guy that didn't understand the difference in the lines of longitude measurements that Toon is going to make, and there's some other guy that wanted to talk about Ares failure. They want to talk about everything except the stuff that Toon is going to do in Antarctica. It's like, I don't know, it's so weird.
Like what?
That first guy is the same guy here. The guy who doesn't understand longitude.
The maps?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that you, y'all?
What's that?
Yeah, that would be y'all.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. No. What do you mean?
I doesn't understand anything. So any statement along that line applies to him.
Hey, when you guys say 24-hour sun, though, right?
No, he read it. He read it on the map. It says it right there on the map. There's no sunlight beyond 80 degrees. So when they go down and they see sunlight down there, that just proves that they really weren't in Antarctica.
Or it proves that they didn't go past the 80 degree, or
Exactly. Exactly.
Proven.
Now you're thinking, y'all.
Oh my God.
But if you take out, I don't know how familiar you are with South America, but they're going to be in the southernmost part of South America. And they're going to take a 4-hour flight. There is nowhere that 4 hours from the tip of South America that there will be that much cold and ice.
Max, won't they be north of the South Pole? So that's really North America, isn't it?
It is on the same axial pole, so really, yeah.
On the axe, yeah, it is.
From each other, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right above you. Just look
However,
up.
to return to the point and not the crap joke, where else can they be apart from Antarctica?
There is literally nowhere. If you draw a 4-hour circle from there, you can be in the Amazon, but other than that, it's the ocean, the Amazon, or Argentina, potentially, like the northern part of Argentina. There's nowhere else.
I was hoping to ask your angle that. So, where else can they be your angle? There's nowhere else that's within that flight time that's all snow and ice, is there?
Yeah, I don't know why you guys are asking me this question. Did I ask something prior to this or something? I'm confused.
Because I think you seem to be suggesting there might be some doubt as to their actual location.
No, I'm saying from where they're going to be standing and recording and all this, right? So this is a scientific map. I guess apparently not. Seeing as how they just say. I guess I haven't seen any citations stating that this is false or anything beyond the 80 degrees. And if so, then there should be no problem in their coordinates, right? And displaying a coordinates of where they're at. That's just, I mean, that's their map and model anyways, is the globe, so why not so be it?
Right, but the claims that are made on that map are not the claims of the globe. They're the claims of a flat earther, Alexander Gleason.
Toon's back, FYI.
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, cool. Thought Johnny B would want to have it.
It is Gleason's map, right? You would agree with that, your angle?
Yeah, the Gleason's map.
And Gleason was a flat earther, right?
I'm not for sure.
Yeah, he was.
He wrote a book. It's clear.
He made a map. He just didn't say that he was a flat earther.
He did.
Oh, well, where have we seen that tactic before?
Oh my goodness.
Flat earthers who just don't say they're flat earthers.
Hey, y'all.
I'm
Hey,
saying
y'all.
it
Have you
didn't
read?
stipulate that he was a flat earther, like you asked, right?
I've got
So-
hang on. Hey, y'all. Have you read the back page of that map? Have you turned that map over and read the text on the backside?
I read the 300 and I think it's 36-page book that goes along with it.
Okay, I asked the question. Did you look at the backside of the AE of his Gleason AE map?
I have before. Well, not
There you
right
go.
now at this moment.
Okay, I was just because on there he's yeah.
There's also another standard as far as for student standard too. So they have a student one as well, and then they have this one.
Johnny B, are you alive?
Can't just answer the question.
Yeah. I think Johnny woke up.
Yes, I woke up, yeah, but I'm not woke.
Yeah, Johnny's completely woke, and
I
he
don't
has
want to go broke, you know what I mean?
and he has a question for MC Toon, don't you, Johnny?
All right.
Yeah, my question to MC Toon is: do you don't know about circle of equal altitude? What does that mean?
Oh God!
Oh my goodness. Yes, I do. In fact.
Yeah. Why are you then talking about your globe if you have circle of equal altitude? 3 big circles that's giving you thousands of miles of flatness.
No, that's not what a circle of equal altitude is. A circle of equal altitude is the circle where everywhere on that circle, the angle of elevation or the altitude, the altitudinal angle is the same to a star or a celestial object. And so that works perfectly fine on a globe. It's called a small circle, and the center of that small circle is the GP of the celestial object.
No. That's just Gibber Gibbs. There is no answer, and you're not.
But Johnny,
you're just joking, or you don't know what it's about.
But Johnny, that's a point of light.
I'm not talking with you.
I think he's joking.
All right, so Johnny, I did have the Celestial Navigation Challenge, which uses on the globe.
I wrote it.
Uses circles of equal altitude on the globe, and yet no flat earther could do it. So tells me an awful lot.
Yeah, you're talking about the geometry using the elevation angles.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I also wrote you and also was chatting with you, and you just handwaved it. And I wanted to pay the money that you were promising.
You want what?
What's the money?
What do you want?
Yeah, I really give you the answer, and I wrote it to you, but I never got the money.
Are you sure that you read the actual challenge?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is the thing that the challenge is doing?
Yeah, but you're talking about the geometry, right?
Okay. But what is the actual challenge?
Use the elevation angles, and I'm telling you how you use the elevation angle. If you don't know how to do it, I can tell you how.
That's not the challenge. Here, I'll post. So here I put in the chat the first set of elevation angle measurements. So that the challenge is to use those to determine the position of the observer using only flat Earth. And if you did not do that, you did not satisfy the challenge, and therefore you would have, of course, no claim to the money. If you just say, hey, this is how I think it works, but don't actually do it, you didn't do it.
I'm not saying I think or believe.
Okay, so then, all right, awesome. Then present the process, applying how you know it's done to do that. These angles here to get the position fixed. Can you do that?
I'm telling you, if you're using elevation angle, that's exactly what I'm doing. Then you need to have a respect to a flat plane. You need 180 to get angle, right?
There is no 180. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Could you draw it out?
How do you get the angle in the first place? Then?
How do you get the angle? Here, I'll drop a picture in. So there is how you get the angle.
Stop dropping pictures. I'm not looking at it.
So there, I just put. You asked me the question. I put a diagram in the chat that you can look at so you can see the angle that I'm talking about.
Okay. That's not the angle. That you're talking about in the high altitude, yes. But you have to assume the Earth is flat onto you.
No, I'm assuming that the Earth is a globe. In fact, when I do celestial navigation,
Just think about it. How stupid you have to be to think that will work for you.
Well, in fact, I can do it, and you cannot. That tells everybody watching along that you're the one that's wrong, and I'm the one that's right.
How so?
632 people right now are following along, watching as I can do celestial navigation using the globe, and you cannot do celestial navigation using flat Earth. Okay. It's very obvious who's correct and who's not.
Please. Okay, you have 50 degrees sighting. You have 50 degrees elevation angle to the sun.
Okay.
And the baseline has to be 180 degrees. Fall along the surface, right?
No.
And the sea level.
That's not how. That's not how it's done.
Everything is from the sea level.
The baseline. There's no triangle to begin with. And that the baseline, which I presume would be in this bottom, the bottom in this particular diagram I have on screen right now, does not follow along the surface of the Earth. It goes from the observer to the surface, and it's tangent to the surface at one point, and then it diverges again from the surface on the other side of that point. That's what happens.
Now you have to listen. It's an angular measurement, and then you say, no, there's no triangle. Of course. How do you do angular measurement without the form visual triangle somehow? Because if you are using the sextant, you have to take the sun down to the horizon, down to the GP, right in front.
Not to the GP. No, that tangent point. That is not that point of tangency. Is not the GP.
Yeah, it has to match the GP at least, and that's in front of you.
Tell you what.
Sun kiss the horizon, and then you have made a triangle that it's absolutely not so hard to understand.
It's on screen right now. You are trying to tell me how to do celestial navigation. I can do it. You cannot. I have the diagram on screen for how I do celestial navigation. So you don't get to tell me how I do it. I can tell you how I do it.
Yeah, but it will never work for you because you will end somewhere else.
But
you will never come home.
But in fact, it does work. I can get the position using celestial navigation, and you're just denying.
Like I am saying, and you can use the almanac, and you know the position, and you have to take the time. And therefore, everything is mapped down. Therefore, you're able to do it. And you need only that you need to do is the time. You are taking the angular measurement and mark the time on the horizon. Then you have the right angle. Then you have the number to give. Then you can match it to the almanac. And the almanac will tell you your position. And if you do it 3 times, then you have circle equal altitude from you and to the GP. And that is the circle of equal altitude. That is thousands of miles. And that will never fit.
Well, do it then.
Yeah,
do it then. Show us it.
Yeah, but you're a big talker, but you can't deliver. So nobody cares.
No answer. There's no answer. I'm giving you the rule.
Do it then. You're doing what you always do.
Now you have to take it easy.
I'm going to point out that you're doing what you always do. You could demonstrate that you could do this by actually making the calculation. But what you do is every time you do this, you say, yes, I can do it. I know how to do it. I'll explain to you how to do it. But go ahead and do it.
I've given you the sextant measurements. Go ahead. Walk us through the process and get the position fix. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I really do that. And now Gempanda have to come in and move me to save you. But
you can be heard now, so shut up. Just get on with it and do it. Let's see you do it. You keep telling us everybody else is wrong and you're right on this. Let's see you prove it. If the numbers are there, make the calculation.
Why are you talking, Gempanda? Let us talk together. You don't have to be the star of the evening all the time.
I will shut up.
You're right, though, Gempanda. A correct assertion of his skills. So, so if you're right, then you should be able to do it. So, chop, chop.
It's a circular equal altitude around the GP. Do you understand that?
So,
around the GP.
Yeah, I put a diagram of how it works on the globe in the chat. And I'm looking at it on screen right now.
Stop this fucking. Do you have a lot of people there?
There are.
Posting that?
Yeah,
I know what
there's
I'm talking about.
500. Here, there's 576 people.
You need a circular equal altitude. 3 times to know, or maybe 2 times. You don't need more than 2. But if you do it 3 times, then you have how many thousand miles do you have a flatness?
They're not flat.
You have to do it with respect to a flat plane. You cannot do it otherwise.
But I don't do it with reference to a flat plane. When I do it, you can feel free to attempt to do it using flat plane, but I don't use it in reference to a flat plane. I do it in reference to a globe when I do it. Yeah, the geometry I use uses the globe to get the one angle that you measure to the star. There's just one angle. There's no 3 angles. It's not a triangle. It's just one angle. And once you have that angle, then you know the circle of equal altitude, and so you know that you're somewhere on that circle. And on this diagram, you're on the right side there.
You don't know anything.
On the perimeter of that circle, you know that you're somewhere on that perimeter of the circle.
First of all, anchors destroys the globe. By definition, anchors are straight lines, not.
Yes, I agree. Yep, and I've shown how the straight line angles work on the globe. So
exactly. So I'm right about that, and they are trying to go away from it and try to say something else. That's just a funny fucking thing. It's just like a Joe Biden or something.
No, I don't know if you're looking at the things that I'm putting in the chat, but it kind of destroys all of your claims. So, it would be to your great benefit if you were to have a look at what I'm putting in the chat here. Let me do it again. Here, I'll put it in.
You're trying to give a tankish line to.
Okay. All right, listen. So listen.
Then you have to take a line down to in the middle of the globe to make globe flat again. So
that's not what I'm doing. So you've asserted that.
Yeah, you are.
But you haven't provided. Yeah, but you haven't provided the geometry for your position. So I'm showing the geometry for my position. It's on screen right now.
Nobody's doing it in real life. Nobody's doing it with navigation. It's never done.
You don't think people actually successfully do celestial navigation? Do you really think that doesn't happen?
Myself. So why are you telling me how it is done?
If you think so, how come you didn't do the observation?
I'm telling you,
how come you can't do it? So I posted it again. The measurements, the Regulus 70 degrees 48.7 minutes, Arcturus 27 degrees 9 minutes, and Doobie 55 degrees 18.4 minutes. So those 3 there. The date was November 15 of 2018. You can get a nautical almanac for that date. So you go ahead. How do you do that without using the globe?
You just think it is a globe, but it is a flat angular measurement. And if you just think that you are looking at is a globe, and it's not a globe. It's a flatness.
Okay,
just like a Gleason map.
I'm not interested in your religion, though.
The globe is not the proof. It's from the globe to the Gleason map. No, the Gleason map is telling you how they make globe from the flat.
Well, that's not what the actual text says, but it doesn't really matter in this instance here because you're talking about celestial navigation, something that I can do and you cannot. And when I do it, I use the globe, and I don't do the method you suggested that I use. I use my method, not your method. So it's not. I mean, it's not to your.
Why is everybody using my method and it's working fine? I'm a fucking Viking. I did it before you all.
But nobody uses your method. You don't use your method. That's the funny thing.
1,000 years ago.
Go ahead.
I mean, you say you can do it, bro, but I mean, have you actually been out there and had to do it, or is it just something you read in a book and know how to do?
He can feel free to sit in his living room and do it right, tonight. He's had, I'm
asking you though, right?
Me?
No, stop obfuscating, right? And like, I'm asking you, like, have you actually done it, or is it just something you read in a book?
You're talking to me.
No, I'm talking to you.
Oh my gosh. Name the person you're talking to.
Jesus Christ, Flamingo.
I didn't know Flamingo was stupid.
Did you not hear what I said? I said you know how to do celestial navigation. Now, have you actually done it, or is it just something you read in a book?
I'm still unclear who you're asking, but I'll assume you're asking me, and I will answer you. I have read it in a book, and I have done it on paper, and I have done it by examining the source code for applications that do it too.
On the paper.
That's how you do it. Did you not know that you actually do celestial navigation if you're on a boat?
You see the criticism that some of us may have with that, right? You're not lost on that, right?
That I have actually done it on paper myself? Well, I don't know what criticism you're trying to level at me here.
That you haven't been out in a boat.
No practice in it, right? You haven't done it in practice, right?
I have exactly done it.
You need to be in a boat to do it.
I have done it in practice. I have done it on paper. That's the same method that people in boats use.
No, it isn't.
So it doesn't matter if you're rocking up and down on a boat or if you're sitting in the living room doing it.
Oh, really?
You're taking the measurements, you're applying the geometry, and you're outputting the position.
You're writing something on your paper in the living room. That's
how they do it on boats. Did you not know that?
No,
they use paper.
They really have to follow what they're.
Yes. And I have had success in determining the position on paper, just like they do when they're in a boat. It doesn't matter. The fact that I'm in the living room or in a boat doesn't change the geometry.
Stop. It's so boring. Okay, so you don't know what you're talking about. I'm telling you how it's done, and you're just handling it.
Oh, my goodness.
Johnny, can I ask you this?
The projection.
If you know how it's done, and you say you know how it's done, and everybody else is doing it wrong, and Tuna's... Listen, I'm still asking the question. And Tuna's published his coordinates for these 3 stars at these particular times. Why can't you make the calculation, figure out the location he's in based on that information, and show us that your method works? Why won't you do that? I'm not asking you to explain the method to me. I'm asking you why you won't use that method in front of us to show that it works.
But I have done everybody's doing it every fucking day.
Yeah, but I don't care about everybody doing it every fucking day. I want to see you do it today.
Using flat Earth, of course, not using the globe. You can't use the radius of the globe in your calculations, because if you do, you're using the globe.
Nobody's doing it.
Right, let's see you do it then. Come on, you know how to do it. Do it.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
I get all of the things that you're telling me. I've heard them all many times. Please, just do it. Take us through it. Go ahead.
It just takes a deep correction to the sea level. Oh, what's that means?
No, now you're explaining it to me. I'm not asking you to explain.
If you don't want to explain how...
I'm not asking you to explain it to me. I'm asking you to do it. Do it.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Obviously, you can't.
Don't explain it to me. I've heard your explanation 1,000 times. I'm not asking you to explain it to me. I'm asking you to do it. Toon has published the coordinates of 3 stars and the times that the measurements were taken, the angles to them. Make the calculation based on his data. Show us that you can do it. Don't try and explain to me how you would do it. Do it.
I don't think he actually knows how he would do it.
If we are talking together, I have to explain with words. You cannot watch me do anything. So
you don't have to explain anything. You just have to do the calculation right here in front of us, and tell us where he is.
I can give you how numbers.
All right. So for reference, let's review again the challenge. I'll post the challenge in the chat so people can read it on their own. The challenge isn't for you to make unsubstantiated claims. The challenge is to provide the method that works and to do it for the first set of measurements that I provided. So you need to output not just a claim about how it would be done, but the method for doing it, and then do it. And then I will test the method that you provide to do it and see. And if it works, then hold on, let me finish. Then round 2, I will send you another set of angle measurements, and you use the exact same method to get the fix for this new position. If you do that using the same method, then you win. So the fact that you thought that you could just say things and not do things tells me that you didn't actually read the challenge. Right? Okay. The challenge is written in
all doing it.
You're talking all the time.
The challenge is written in English, and if you can't read English, maybe have somebody translate it for you.
Okay,
Johnny.
If you have a 50 degrees,
if you do
let him respond, Rano. Let him respond.
I cannot talk. Everybody's talking.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, if I have 50 degrees angle, and I have 90 degrees, what is 50 from 90? You need 50. If you have 50 degree elevation angle.
They always use.
And I have GP that is.
It's because they can't do the harder numbers.
What is 50 from 90? Because you need 90 degrees up to the 50 to the angle that's right in front of you. That's the triangulation. In some way, it is.
Well, then do it. Go ahead. Chop.
It's 50 from 90. That's 40, and 40 times 90 nautical miles is 2,400 nautical miles.
Hey, so where did that 60? Where did that 60 come from?
That has to be flat. Cannot be 3959 radius of a fucking globe then.
Oh my gosh.
You guys all doing it wrong. Johnny.
Nobody can say anything.
If you do it correctly, you will get $10,000. Imagine how much alcohol you can buy from it.
I want the money because I have done it. I wrote him. I was chatting with him.
You never actually did it. That's the thing. Yes, you never actually did it. Okay, then this is your chance. Send me the screenshot of you doing it. Providing it to me. You said I don't know how you chatted to me. Where was this? How did you communicate it to me?
Directly, and you was chatting with me on your website.
On my website. I don't have on my website a chat mechanism.
On the Google website. Anyways,
here. Hold on. Here, I will. You, if you read the challenge.
Okay. Just.
I'll put in the
relax. Everybody relax now.
No. I'm going to. Here is in the challenge. I'm going to read this to you.
Listen.
The challenge, submission communication method. A notification of the submission must be sent via email to mctoon@mctoon.net. A confirmation of receipt via email will be sent back to the submitter. The submission is not complete until a confirmation of receipt has been received via email to the submitter. So can you send a screenshot of the email you sent to me?
No, I'm not doing it now in the middle of the conversation.
What email address did you send from? I'll search my email for it.
It was live. It was live conversation.
A live conversation where?
With you.
He emailed you live.
Where?
On the website, in the comments.
On the website. Which website?
it was on. It was on a server website. It was not only one.
On a server website.
It was on the debate website. And,
on the debate website. What debate website was this on? This is news.
Yeah, it is. But I'm not here to talk about that.
No, you are. You absolutely are. You said that you brought up that you submitted it to me. So I'm just wondering, where was it that we had this conversation?
Modern debate website, for example.
The modern debate website. Is this moderndebate.com? Is that the website?
No, it was via YouTube.
On YouTube. So the website we were at, it was YouTube.
Yeah, but
okay.
I think he's saying in the YouTube chat of Modern Day Debate.
Was it in the live chat on Modern Day Debate, or was it in the comments of Modern Day Debate?
It was in the comments.
In the comments. Okay. What video was it under? What video was it under? We're getting somewhere now.
Yeah, I might find
good question.
Yeah, I don't
answer it.
You're too. Yeah,
I'm just sitting here.
You're too drunk to answer. Okay,
Johnny, how far up your ass are you going to reach for those answers?
You must remember which debate it was, Johnny.
It's a many fucking.
Okay. Well, I'll reiterate once more. The official submission method is an email, and if you had read the actual challenge, you would know that.
I also wrote your email.
Oh, excellent. What email address did you send from? I'll search for it.
I'm not talking about that here. I'm here to debate with
you.
You can DM him. You can DM him
Got
the
it.
email.
Got it.
This is great.
So it's clear you did not send me an email.
Of course I did.
I have Johnny's email if you want to check it.
Yeah. Can you DM it to me?
I do have it on something. Hang on.
Yeah.
And Johnny, just imagine all the Brennivin you can get, right?
I didn't use that email.
Before anybody says I've not emailed Exchange Johnny, before anybody even tries it.
You're just trying to go away from the big questions.
We'll talk about that later on.
And then you have to talk about something else that's not related to.
Well, you opened with the claim that you had done this challenge and emailed Toon about it. So we're not going away from anything.
Yeah.
This was your opening statement.
This is good. All right. I have your email address. I won't share it here, but I will search for it.
This is what happens when Johnny be so careless with his.
It's nothing else that we should be talking about in the open like that.
You might have to say
he hasn't mentioned it, your email, has he?
Johnny, I think
Talking
you're
about my
absolute sack of
email,
shit, but I won't share your personal information. Let's be clear about that.
That's not on. That's
What you think it's a secret that you have an email address?
All right. So back in 2023, you sent me an email, June of 2023. You said, you can send me the $10,000 to my PayPal account. I answered you. Bye the Blackbird and welcome the Black Swan. MC Toon, you are very funny. You need flat baseline to make right triangle. Can't work on a spherical Earth. Sounds identical to what you've said today. But so far, we haven't gotten to the actual solution. Let's see. Pay me the 10,000. E.g., you have 50 degrees sighting of the sun above the horizon. That's right angle triangle. And now you subtract from the 90, that 400 nautical miles away from the GP of the sun to you. That gives you circle of equal altitude. That gives you a flat area in 360 degrees. Do this 3 times on your way to get exactly where you are. Thing, 3 times so big area of circle of equal altitude. No way. You are on a globe. Space, comma, 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 right, question mark, right close parentheses. You need a flat baseline to do that, and that's how celestial navigation is performed. Now, the problem is, okay, well then, hold on. Let's P.S. What's the cause FORE for your gravity fantasy? Here's my simple equation for the acceleration of object in free fall. H equals 1/2 AT squared equal VT, which is a kinematic equation.
Fuck.
H equals height, A equals constant acceleration, T equals the initial velocity equals 0, which none of that actually predicts 9.8 meters per second squared. In fact, you use kinematic equations to measure the acceleration, not to predict the acceleration. And then you gave me a simplification of the kinematic equation. It wasn't a simplification, but that's fine. No gravity is needed, no G, just A. Well, G is A in this instance. Anyway, yeah, you didn't get that, but but the example, let me remind everybody once again. Let's see, that's not it here. The example that you must do is to do this particular one, which has Regulus at 70 degrees, Arcturus at 27, and Dubby at 55. None of them are at 50. And you didn't do, so you did 0. You did 0 circles of equal altitude, and you didn't output the position.
What? 0? First of all, I did circle of equal altitude if I have the elevation on
for which star did you do?
Because
in the
you
three
get circle of equal altitude around the GP. There you have it. What? And
so
then you start
this is
go away from it. No, that's the fact. Just
this is your assertion.
Brambling or whatsoever you're trying to do. You can never go from it. You really need a flat.
I mean, so you've
it's a
said
little known fact that all navigation requires that the star be at 50 degrees elevation.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do it, apparently.
I have a question of you, MC Toon. Could you, without any personal information? Oh yeah, you sent the email, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I just read the whole thing. Yeah, it didn't leak any PII for you there, Johnny.
It's kind of good to know. I was just going to say, it's good to know Johnny is as coherent in his emailing that he is in real life. That's all.
Yep.
I like how it starts off. You can send me the $10,000.
Yeah.
I'll hold Johnny's $10,000 for him.
Amazing.
What's missing is QED, pay me the money at the end.
But I can't believe that he doesn't really get this, because it's the same every time he argues with this. I keep saying to him over and over again, just do it. Show us how it's done. And what he always comes back with is an explanation of how it's done. He never just does it.
Yeah, interesting.
I've done it several times.
Okay, but do it this time, because every time I've asked you, you've told me.
What the fuck are you asking me to do?
Listen. Every time I've asked you, you've said I've done it several times, and not once have I ever seen you do it. Never. And I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone else that's seen you do it either. So this claim that you've done it several times is a lie, and you know it is.
Oh man. Okay, you want me to? I'm talking. Why are you talking over me all the time? I'm trying
because
to.
Because you're lying, and it's
you're
annoying.
Just talking over me all the fucking time.
Okay. Tell me some more lies. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you want me to hire a film team and everything and do it so you can see me? No, I cannot tell you how.
Get a piece of paper. Do it on paper.
Documentary.
You just type it here in the chat. You just type it out.
Or do it on paper and use your phone to take a picture of it.
Right, you can do that.
That works.
Very simple. You don't need a film crew or anything.
And just as a reminder, I put in the observation as data, so you can use the Regulus, the Arcturus, right?
Yes.
You can use these for your calculation. Like if you don't use what I just put in chat, then you don't do it, right? You have to use these measurements.
Yeah, and I rest my case. I'm going to smoke. And you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Johnny is right again.
And we can see you're right by the way you've completely failed to demonstrate that you're right.
I really did.
Even though you've been given the opportunity multiple times.
And I have sent him my email. He should know better, but he never learned. So what can I do?
He's repeating himself. Can I ask a question, Toon?
Please do. Go ahead.
Sure.
I asked this when you went to the toilet, because this is like the second or third time where you, in extremely good faith, try to put on the tests that you're going to do in Antarctica to the opinion of flat earthers. And they seem to want to talk about anything except what you're going to do down there.
Yes.
How frustrating is that for you?
It's vindication. It's absolutely them waving the white flag. It is them saying, just lying down on the floor and saying, Earth is a globe. We know it. We can't do anything. Flat Earth sucks. We can't do a model. We can't tell you anything at all about flat Earth. And what it tells everybody else is that it's just a religious position. Because if you thought the Earth was flat and you had evidence for it, then you'd have it, right? But if it was, if it was based on facts, then you would insist on having those facts be there. But how, we measure the ground and the ground is curved, and you say, no, here's this other measurement that really sucks and has margin of errors larger than the actual measurement. But they don't understand margin of error, right? That's the...
Right, but it's as a spectator, to me, it's kind of frustrating watching you saying, okay, I will be doing this, and this. And they want to talk about anything except what you're doing.
Well,
it's...
Yeah, and what I'm doing here is I'm exercising science, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm doing it for people, with people, having people watch and follow along and participate in science, and seeing how flat Earth can't even enter the room of science because you need to first produce a prediction. If you can't produce a prediction, you're not in the room.
Green light, Jim?
You're nowhere near. So.
The green light, Jim?
Yeah, go ahead, Yorango.
I got proof for you from the Department of the Interior of the U.S. Geological Survey. Proof for you.
Okay.
My breath.
It's going to be
the Geological Survey.
All right, prepare for a first law confirmation here.
Yeah, this will be the opposite.
So, let's talk about your coordinate system, right? Let's talk about your sextant. Is this what you're using? Right? To look up at the stars so you can get around on your feet, supposedly, or on a boat. Specifically says so it's X, Y. You don't need X, Y. You don't need Z for travel. And to use X, Y, Z, you would need to know the center of the Earth. And you would have 3 points from which your sextant is being used. And I don't know how you get a coordinates from that. You just know your position. Right? That's what the sextant's used for.
No, a sextant measures angles, and then you use those angles to determine your position. There's a process to do it, but it includes trigonometry and the globe. Yeah.
Right. So it's called a sextant, right? Right?
If it's a tent, you have
sixth of a circle.
A-N-T, not E-N-T.
Circle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a sixth of a circle.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So it's broke down in angles, which should be perpendicular to each other. So that's where you get your equal distance in geometry, which also relates to your sextant. Right? And then you get that from your horizon, and perpendicular from that is how you set it up with your mirrors. Right, by seeing the sun and everything through your mirror, it's perpendicular to the actual. I mean, it's only used for on the horizon, or unless you can see land or some other obstacle, right? Just to get your position.
Yeah, wrong. So I have in my hand a sextant that doesn't use the horizon. It's a bubble sextant. Thank you, Bob, the science guy. Lent it to me here.
Right. Okay. There's a couple different kinds, but the one you were specifically talking about was the stars. Okay.
Yeah. So when you measure the angle you're looking for with the sextant is the angle that's a departure from zenith. That's the angle you want.
Which is 90 degrees. Which is right above you.
Yeah. Yeah. In surveying they use 0 for that. So you can choose what you want. But yeah, straight up. And so you want the departure from that. That's the angle you're looking for. So you measure the angle. You're like, oh, there's 30 degrees departure from zenith. So
and how
then
do you get your 30 degrees, right?
Well, with
30
the
degrees between 2 points.
With the bubble sextant, yeah. So straight up is well, it's a ray going from where you're at straight up, and there's no point actually that you're looking at that's straight up from you. It's a ray that's going.
That's why it's called an angle.
Yeah, and then the second one is the star. So it's a single angle between straight up and the star. So then what?
Oh, okay. So you get in. So you get 0 through 90 as an angle, or 180 past your straight up. Correct. If you were looking like obtusely, it would be over 90. So anything in between 0 and 90 is your angle. Very simple.
Okay.
There you go. No,
wow.
3 stars going on, dude. 3 stars don't work. And observer, that just doesn't work. Because then you would be looking at an angle in between the 2 stars.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Wow.
Don't worry, none of us do.
Yeah.
Welcome to a day ending in Y with your angle.
Neither does your angle.
Tune, I hate to tell you this. It's not fair talking with y'all. He has a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, my dad replaced my brain with the chicken brain when I was younger. I
Oh, was it upgrade, huh?
Let's not be
That's legit.
We don't need to.
No, that's when they know they've lost the fight here. It's either bite because they can't come back. He can't come back with anything, man. It's just what it is.
So it's really simple with celestial navigation. It's super simple. It's super simple.
All angle.
Do it.
Yeah,
all the pontificating is useless.
There's no geometry.
Do it. Just do it.
What do you mean?
Just go do it.
0 to 90. 0 is the surface. You got to start from the surface.
No, I'm sorry. You're not doing it. You're not doing the celestial navigation. You're just making claims about how celestial navigation is being done. But you've never done celestial navigation.
How do you do that if your geometric point is 3.5 miles, Mr. MC2?
Anyways, wow.
Why don't you do it, Johnny? Explain to me why you won't do it.
I did it for
he's talking about geometry. He has only 3.5 miles.
Right, but explain to me why you won't do it.
Because
if you can and you've done it before, why not do it?
Because you need the horizon free in front of you, and you can also do it in the sky. It's 3,000 miles. What the fuck you are? You can do it because you just have to zoom. You have a flat plane onto you.
He's giving you the measurements. He's giving you the measurements. That's part of his challenge.
I'm giving you the
Listen. He's given you the measurements. You don't have to go out and take the measurement. He's given them to you. All you have to do is make the calculation as if you'd already made the measurements.
Yeah.
Okay. His calculations
right, so do it there. Show us, if you're so good at it, do it.
Yeah, okay. But
go on, then do it. Don't just say yarrow, do it. You say yarrow. You say
all right. Jim, all right, Johnny, hold on a second. Jim, it's we've been going 3.5 hours here.
There you go. Here's my proof. That's what I wanted to show you from the begin with, right there for you. Okay. There you go.
You put something in chat.
Yeah, and you are lost. You just have to go.
All right, Johnny.
Go on with the reality and stop
All right,
this fucking
quiet, Johnny, for a second. All right, you posted something, Angle?
I will right now. Sorry.
Sure. Okay. So So, map projections, a working manual. Corrections are given rather than actual values. For example, if the geodetic latitude is 50 north, the conformal latitude is 50 minus 11 minute 29.7 second. For southern latitudes, the corrections are the same, disregarding the sign of the latitude. This is a conformal latitude. So this is a correction for auxiliary latitudes on the Clark 1866 ellipsoid. I don't know what this has to do with anything at all with celestial navigation, but I do appreciate the comedy you bring to this situation.
That's funny, dude. Celestial navigation, you're on the surface, by the way. You're on the surface of the Earth, okay?
Okay.
Yep, on the surface.
Got it. All right, Jem, I'm going to pop over to mine, my channel, and finish up the super chats and stuff. But hey, the challenge is still unanswered.
You're going away and listen nothing.
Johnny, shut up, Johnny.
All right, thanks, Johnny. I muted Johnny so that I gotta head out. So anyway, people, thank you very much, Jem.
Shout out to Minnesota and the Vikings.
All right.
Dude, you should hang out more often, man.
Can you just let him finish off, guys? Please.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Gempanda. I appreciate it, and everybody that's interested. The link to his server is in the YouTube description. You can pop in there and join the community there. So, all right, we'll see you later, everybody.
Thanks very much. Cheers, Toon. Thanks for coming.
All right, bye. Man, they just think, well, if I just say things, that's all we need. That's not it. You need to actually do things. And it's tells you a lot about the psychology. It's a group of people that have never done things in their life, and they think that they don't need to do things to do things. So, Helge 7212 has a $1 super chat. There's no message, but then comes back with a $4 super chat that says you have to make a video of McFlatty at Mall of America. I do believe there is a McFlatty video at the Mall of America. If I remember correctly, you might find that on his channel. Rick says, standard mindset, the BS someone wrote down once is true regardless of mountains of opposing empirical evidence that has been written since. Totally nailed it there. What was that? The guy that's like, the Bible says this. If you think the Bible says that, okay, but it doesn't make it correct. Because it's your interpretation of the Bible. To be fair, everybody has their own individual interpretation of it. So whose is right? Well, if it's making claims about reality, and the one that has a claim about reality that doesn't match reality, well, theirs is clearly wrong. So, and certainly lots of people will think that all of the Bible is wrong, and that's their opinion too. And so in the communication here, the community, we all have differing opinions on that. It's okay. It's okay. Signastep says, I like how Micktoon gets smart, fun girls in his chat, unlike FTFE, who gets females like Quickly. She's such a downer. Quickly, you mean funeral fart? Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted one membership. Flurfs Suck Balls is a member for 24 months, says, thanks to 2 years of Flurf tears. Cry, Flurfs, cry. And Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted another membership. Thank you. Signastep did as well. Tapioca Weasel did. Signastep did. They're going back and forth here. Earthrise says, my God, this idiot is insufferable. Oakley. OC. Yeah, it is. Oakley has convinced the very unintelligent simpletons that just saying things about geometry is how it happens. And it's interesting. It's a little bit of a weird, reality distortion field that he's put over them, that they think that celestial navigation doesn't need to be done in order to be totally right by them, right? They don't need to do it. Couldn't be bothered to do it. They just know it's right. It's super weird that there's a group of people that are so gullible that they'll just buy that. Tells you a lot. Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted another membership. Thank you so much. Slithery says, you obviously don't understand how email works. So I did get an email from him, but it wasn't just a little bit ago. It was, and you saw it, it was 2023, is over a year ago. And he didn't follow the instructions at all. He didn't actually provide the position fix, and he didn't provide the method to do it. I mean, he tried to roughly produce the method, but what you have to do is you provide the method, and at the end, you have a position. And if you didn't get a position, that's how you'll know you're at the end, right? If at the end you're like, latitude this, longitude this, you've done it then. May or may not be right, but you've done it when you get a position. Okay, then you could do some validations. Say, well, does that seem like a reasonable spot? And I didn't say whether it was on the ocean or on the land, right? It is on the ocean. But you could do some sanity checks. I've said it's on the ocean. So if the position fix that you got is on land, you say, well, obviously that wasn't right. But you've got a 70% chance of being on the water at least. Okay, Cygnus Step gifted another membership, and Dr. Tapioca Weasel did, and Cygnus Step did. And then Tim Davidson says, Flurfs don't get invited to this extent. Cygnus Step gifted one membership. Tim Davidson says the Earth is not a perfect sphere, but a cow is. I don't know how a cow is a perfect sphere. So, did you see my Bucky mug drinking from tonight? And it was funny that they were trying to call me doing it on paper as not legitimate. They're like, you have to do it in in real world. That's how they do it on a boat. That's how they do it on a boat. It's the same method, just that there's water around you. It doesn't change. And my challenge isn't about doing it on a boat. It isn't about requiring you to have a sextant. The measurement's already been done. You don't need to leave your house. It's about the method, which they can't do. PC Tony says, if the Bible doesn't say flurfs are idiots, it may not be wrong, but it is incomplete. Yes. I can give you that. Icy Spin says, did it get worse than Hakeem and Polaris? Please say no. I think Hakeem and Polaris and Johnny B, man, I don't know. Them's fighting each other for. Cygnus Step says, I've never called quickly a sphere cow. Sphere cow. His Zotness says it only works in a boat. Apparently it only works in a boat. I don't know why it only works in a boat. What a coping mechanism. What an escape attempt that was. Flurfs Suck Balls gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. If you're a recipient of that, make sure you thank Flurfs Suck Balls. Rick says the reference was the guy reading the Gleason map. The reference was the guy reading the Gleason map. Man, when I came back there talking about whether or not Gleason was a flat earther, and he's like, no, I don't think so. Like, of course he was a flat earther. Flat earthers constantly argue that Gleason was a flat earther as a way of trying to claim that this was not a projection from the globe. I mean, it's listed as a projection from the globe, and he gave the instructions for how he did it. Right? So, and this map, prior to whenever this was published, existed as an azimuthal equidistant map, and the globe existed prior to it, and the azimuthal equidistant maps that existed that are the same as the Gleason map were from the globe. Like, just lying about reality is not changing the shape of the Earth. So, the Darkstar 4400 says, the Bible doesn't say the Earth is flat, but if you want to believe it is flat, then you're free to do so. Yes. Johnny thinks he won. Let's see. Tim Davidson says the spherical cow is a humongous metaphor for highly simplified scientific models of complex phenomena, originating. Wow. Why do I have trouble saying that? Originating in theoretical physics. I have heard that before. Yes. Did Earthrise say a super chat that I missed? All right, let me review, make sure I didn't miss. Let's see. I got that one about the idiot, insufferable. Going back all the way. They did give us a way to finally mark whether or not we've completed or we've done a super chat. Yeah, I did read the one Earthrise, 42 months. Earthrise, thank you for that. Okay. Didn't see you hearted. Oh, so I can't heart the member super chats. There's no way to mark them. Let's see. I can't scroll back to one. I can't mark them as done because there's no heart opportunity for it. So that's it. Okay. Anyway, I got a busy week. I got a lot going on. I'm heading out next week to South America. So people, thank you very much for supporting. Tomorrow, the plan is, if all goes to plan, may or may not, I'll host the Craig and Toon Show. Then on Thursday, so the reason why tomorrow is because Thursday I have 2 live streams. So I'm going to be on Modern Day Debate, 2v2 with Robert Greenlee and myself against Kevin and Tony Naum. That's the plan. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. All right. I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to play Oakley because the Oakley song it gets a flag. It gets the video flag because it's vulgar. So I'll just do the outro. Oh no, you know what? Is this all right? It's Christmas. It's December. I forgot to do the correct intro. Anyway, the outro is the Christmas one, but it's a year out of date on the members, so I'll need to update it. But anyway, people, thank you very much for joining me. Be looking out for the next one, and we'll see you in a little bit. That wasn't it. Hold on. There it is. Here we go.